Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 569.
Whoa.
What's up, bitch?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know. Anyways.
Impressive.
I'm totally frazzled here. Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Nick Henderson. I am joined today by Brad Simons.
What's up, bitch?
Brad Simons.
Hello.
Oh. I was hoping you just keep going with the what's up, bitch.
No.
Sorry. Nolan Hedstrom.
That was my bit from Cocktail Time from like 8 years ago.
I know, and I was trying to bring it back.
I know, we're out of material. We're out of stuff.
We're recycling
We've been
material.
doing this for too long.
Christopher Guthridge is also here, as you
Hey,
can
how's
tell.
it going?
How is everybody doing this evening?
Oh, terribly.
Welcome to the show. This is our first week back post 1998 month. We talked about nothing but games that came out in 1998 month last month. So, we have a lot of catching up to do. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a very impressions heavy podcast. We've been playing lots of stuff off the feed, lots of new shit, including things like The Messenger, Guacamelee 2, Chasm, whole bunch of cool shit.
Metroidvania month.
Yeah, it was kind of an
much.
unofficial Metroidvania month last month. So yeah, we will talk about all of those things. So there's not going to be any news segment. I might try and dedicate an episode of 4Player Plus, which I'm going to get back on that next Monday, to covering some of the news that we missed. But in the meantime, we're going to focus today on almost nothing but impressions. I do want to go through some feedback. I do want to answer some questions from Patreon because we do have those this week.
So it's going to be almost like a normal show.
Almost like a normal show.
We're just not doing news.
Hey, news can sometimes go a while, right?
My vision was start to stop impressions.
Well,
but
We've already
honestly,
blown
I
that.
probably would have gone that way, except Jaeger posted the questions thread for
That
Patreon.
Son of a bitch.
motherfucker.
And I'm not going to not answer people's questions.
Kill him.
And we've got lots of great feedback, which I'm just going to jump right
That
into.
stuff didn't have to go anywhere. We could have done it next week.
But I've already said we're doing it, so we're doing it.
Fine.
Anyways, I want to read some feedback. I'm going to just jump right into it. You guys know the drill. If you're listening, please, if you have anything you want to say after our conversations tonight, jump into our comment section at 4playernetwork.com. Leave us a comment on the post for this episode. We'll read it at the start of next week's show. We have a returning comment from James. Last week he posted about he wanted to thank us for doing the show because he's in the game industry and all this stuff. And I had kind of subtly said, hey, that'd be cool to know what games you worked on, because he said we've talked about some of his games. So he said, hello again, checking to see if I am able to submit a comment this week, blah, blah, blah. I am obviously unable to discuss things that I have worked on recently and currently. However, here are just a few titles that I have had the pleasure of working on and remembering you guys commenting on. Silent Hill 5 Homecoming, Red Faction, Guerrilla, and Armageddon.
Gorilla's so good.
Guerrilla's so good. Armageddon wasn't bad either. Uncharted 3, 4, and Lost Legacy, and The Last of Us.
That sounds like you work at Naughty Dog.
No. He goes on.
Are you Neil Druckmann?
He goes on. During my time in games, I have worked for 2 separate service groups that focus primarily on cinematic sequences as an animation lead, which has allowed me to be a part of so many different titles over the years. My demo reel is about 5 years old and out of date, and only has a sample of the scope of work that was done. However, feel free to take a look. He posted the link. It's in there. He also says, Brad, I'm a huge Final Fantasy Tactics and XCOM fan. Question, is Unsung Story even happening, or what's the story with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of still happening. I still get emails about it. It's under a new developer, Little Orbit, I think they're called. But even now that project's troubled because they redid all the art, and it's like super kind of like mobile World of Warcraft. It's like it's not like
it is not
Matsuno at all, or it's not is
he still
Akiko
involved?
Yoshida. No. He was never that involved, unfortunately. But they were going to use like a Yoshida art style, which is the dude that usually does the art style of the Matsuno games. He also does, Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default and stuff. You know that art style.
Yes.
And they were going to make something kind of similar to that, but they were worried about, they claimed, kind of ripping them off. So they went with something very different. But I just think that the artists that they could afford had that one style, and everyone kind of revolted. And they're like, okay, we're gonna still do this artist, but we're gonna do like slimmer versions of all the characters. And they're showing like different versions of like less, bulky action figure type figures, but it still looks kind of rough.
What you're saying is it's been compromised.
Oh, I mean, it's been compromised for years, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for the update. Is that an iCipher or LCipher?
iCipher.
iCipher says, hearing the podcast is finally on Spotify absolutely made my week. Been a long-time listener since 2008 or so, and vividly remember the first time I heard you guys. I was standing at a train station in Denmark listening to David talk about Metal Slug 3 on XBLA.
Interesting.
So upon discovering that there were episodes from 2009 on Spotify, I took a trip down memory lane last week and listened to some old episodes of yours. I had some strong nostalgia while listening, and I gotta be honest, I got a little emotional. Thank you so much for all these years. That's very touching. Thank you. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that. And yeah, as he mentioned, we are on Spotify now.
How's the audio from those old episodes?
Not great. not great. We've come a long way from an audio perspective, for sure.
We should do a show where we're all wearing headsets with mics.
We should do a show where we totally go back to recording the way we did back then.
Just break into that apartment.
I don't even remember. Oh, I don't know
anymore.
about that. I don't think we should do that.
2008 model.
Oh my gosh, that would. Oh, yeah, we could.
We already sort of did that, actually.
Did we?
Well, we did a 2008 special when we did our episode 400, where we talked about a bunch of 2008 games.
Yeah, but we didn't record the audio like it was 2008. Let's just
Yeah, no, sure. But
make it sound terrible. Anyways, Piost says, since you guys briefly talked about Warcraft 3 and other RTS games. Sorry, I'm going to start that over. Since you guys briefly talked about Warcraft 3 and other RTS games, I still have fond memories of Warcraft 3 single-player and multiplayer modes. The real draw of multiplayer for me wasn't facing other opponents in skirmishes, but it was the sheer variety of custom games available. Warcraft 3's map editor was really detailed, and the people that came up with new games were able to utilize it in creative ways to make a wide variety of maps ranging from tower defense to hero arenas. One game even had a save and load system which allowed a player to carry over their data from one session to another.
If you like funky Warcraft modes, I recommend this thing called Defense of the Ancients.
Never heard of it.
Is that an actual Warcraft mode, or is that just a different game entirely that looks like Warcraft?
This guy doesn't know.
What are you talking
Never
about?
mind,
This guy's
Nick.
stupid! I'm so dumb. What are we talking about?
Don't you know what? Have you ever heard of Dota?
Oh, is that what that fucking stands for?
Yes.
The first Dota was a
Dude,
Warcraft 3 custom.
First of all,
Yeah.
guys, I give two shits about
Oak.
Dota. I have
Nick,
no idea.
that's too many.
Nick, why are
That's
you...
too many to give.
Too many shits?
Yes.
Nick, why are you so stupid?
Fuck off. Fuck off. Oh my god. Equax, goddamn, I hate you all. Equax says, too bad about Brad's Tomb Raider 3 stream, but I get not wanting to play PS1 version.
Oh,
Any
God.
chance he'll try to stream it again?
What happened?
You know-
I didn't see it.
It just... So the PC version, which had worked, it was like the first thing I tested like in
Sure.
July. And it's like, oh, great. I'll do this, towards the end of the month because, people aren't going to be that excited about Tomb Raider. So I booted up and everything. It was a train wreck. So I was like, okay, I'll play the PS1 version. But I was so like upset the whole time playing that the PS1 version. Like, it's not a good way to play Tomb Raider. Classic Tomb Raider in this day and age. It's like playing fucking Turok on the 64 when you can
Which
play
I
it
did
on...
surprisingly well admit it.
But still, there are much, much better ways to play. You would never recommend someone play the 64 version of this
Over the
point.
Night Dive version?
No, God,
yeah, of course
no.
not.
No.
Of course not.
Yeah, and that's sort of what it's like with Tomb Raider.
I am
on PC versus PS1.
I am genuinely shocked myself I was able to play that game on N64. I thought I was going to embarrass myself, but I didn't. Scarecrow says...
real quick, though. I will say Scarecrow... Or not Scarecrow, but...
Equack?
Equack. It really, really kind of upsets me that there is not... Like, for such a classic series as Tomb Raider on PC, there is not, like, a super friendly, just click a button and it's, like, a nice, easy, modern way to play Tomb Raider in this day and age, You see much less... big games like fucking Forsaken. Night Dive Studio just did fucking Forsaken remastered. It would be nice to see a studio finally get around to making classic Tomb Raider kind of modernized and updated without jumping through hoops to make it run on a modern PC well. So yeah, someone get on that. Although a developer did try to do that,
Is it a matter of it not having like gamepad support or something? Because
no, I mean it's way beyond gamepad support. I mean that getting gamepad support for any old PC game like that is easy enough. It was other things.
Gotcha. Yeah. Scarecrow says, I loved 1998 month, and when there are themed months in general, it was a tough month to stick to that. Wait. And then there are themed months in general. It was a tough month to stick to that. I don't know what that means.
It probably just meant it was
August,
tough to stick to that.
Tough month. For
August had a lot of new games.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha. Yes, it was very tough. Only thing that let me down is that we didn't get Metal Gear Solid 1 to work on its night or any alternative night.
That's my fault.
That is Crispy's fault. But like I said last
Take
week,
responsibility for that.
Last week I said, and I say it again, if you ever have the itch, you should still try to stream that sometime because it's so cool. That's such a cool game.
Did y'all see that remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 intro with the?
I did. I saw that. I saw that it existed. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
It was pretty good.
Sweet. Is it what's the engine that it's remade in? Like the Metal Gear Solid 2?
Unreal
4.
Oh, Unreal 4. Damn.
It looked pretty good.
I will have to watch that. And our last comment goes to Gamerbeck. That's Gamerbeck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He says, "Dear 4Player Network." God.
Hey, I already said
you
fuck
may
this
want to
Beck
test
guy.
your gameplay footage before you start recording the podcast, if time allows. Being able to watch it yourselves would probably be better than not having it at all, if it won't play properly on the feed. Thank you for the pro tip, Gamerbeck. Boo this man. I just want to say, we usually check this footage. The strange thing is
last week there literally was an issue with XSplit that didn't happen until after we had gone
yeah,
live.
last week was a bit of a fluke.
Yeah, we literally had to restart XSplit in order to get everything working.
The strange thing is that normally when we do have these issues streaming footage while we're recording the podcast, we have watched the footage beforehand and it's fine. It's specifically when we go live and suddenly certain footage just has problems running. I don't know what that is. We're still trying to get to the bottom of it, but hopefully it won't happen anymore. With that said, it's probably going to happen tonight. Let's see what happens. Thank you guys so much for your comments this week. We really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm not going to waste too much time. I just want to kind of get right to it because we have a lot to talk about. Just want to quickly say, 1, we're on Spotify. 2, we're going to get back to 4Player Plus episodes starting on Monday. And don't forget to tune in next week for the podcast. So I'm sure we're going to be talking about some exciting stuff then as well because Spider-Man will have been out. Dragon Quest XI is out.
Is anyone playing that besides you?
Ed.
He doesn't count.
Anyone on the podcast playing that besides you?
I thought about it.
I
but
was
it seems
thinking
like
about
such
it,
a
Ed
but-
plays 40 hours of Warcraft a week.
That is true. We both play
I
a
was
lot
thinking
of
about
Warcraft.
it, but
I might.
Every time
If I could
get
find
on-
some time between my fucking Fortnite and Hearthstone sessions.
Every time I
Damn
open
you.
up,
Damn you,
every
Crispy.
time I open up Discord, it says Ed
Playing
WoW.
World of Warcraft. Sometimes I
this
wonder if he
son
just
of a
leaves it
bitch.
on and is idling.
at first I thought he was making a joke, but then I realized he does play Hearthstone, which leads me to believe he actually is playing Fortnite, which means I hate Crispy.
Which has led me inevitably to this moment where I realize I hate Crispy. That's fantastic. All right, let's do this. We have a lot of fucking impressions to go through. I don't even know
Let's start
where
with
to
Fortnite.
start.
No.
Oh, God.
He's not actually playing that.
Nolan,
What's up, Nick?
because I accidentally skipped you last week.
Accident.
I'm going to start with you this week.
Sure. What's up, Nick?
Tell us about some video games.
Yeah.
What do you
where
have?
do I fucking start? I got a bunch of them. All right, let's start.
The great thing is that a lot of these things we've kind of, more than one of us has dipped
Correct.
our toes into most of them.
Every
so.
game I'm talking about, multiple people have played. So let's start with this couch and let's talk about some Donut County.
Buck.
Doing it.
Yes.
Both me and Crispy played that game.
I finished it too.
Oh, really, Brad? I didn't know that.
I'm ashamed of myself because I
Wait, did you
didn't
say you're
finish
lying?
it.
Yes.
Fuck you.
You, what do you mean you didn't finish it? Like you
Oh, I
bought
didn't.
it and started
no,
playing it?
I didn't. Sorry.
I only have so many $20 to go around.
I didn't purchase,
so many
started, or
fucking
finish it.
games.
It's not $20. It's 11.
It was 11
that right?
when it came out.
Yeah, it was on sale when it first. I think it was like whatever. Anyway,
Well,
It's
now
like $1 a minute.
Yeah, pretty much.
Joke.
I hear it's a short one.
It is fairly
pretty
short.
short.
So let's talk about Donut County. So I don't know what I expected from this game. I'd only seen that first initial trailer that has the raccoons talking and the hole is slowly sucking things up. And honestly, that is
That's the game.
That is 50% of the game.
Yeah, that's the game.
I will say you do spend a fair amount of time outside of the levels, and like there is a lot of story to this. And that's kind of one of the things I talked about when Brad had originally brought up that mobile ripoff Holio, which I played a lot of. The thing is, that game is pure just gameplay, but it is very repetitive. Whereas this has a lot of gameplay in different levels, and then in between those levels, there are like almost story missions. There actually is a story to this game. There are events unfolding as the game progresses. Okay. So I have... Oh, okay.
Is this window open?
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just go. That's fine. So yeah, I do like the scale. I like kind of what's going on. I like that you are in this little town, and there's a plot. There's actually a reason why all of this is happening. It's not just like, oh, like in Katamari. I mean, I guess there was a plot in Katamari. You were trying to rebuild all the planets and stars in the universe.
Yeah.
But in this, there's a story as well. I mean, there's an objective.
Are you a murderous hole?
No. So you're not actually a hole. You're
like,
someone controlling a hole.
Most of the cutscenes between the levels take place 999 feet below Donut County in the hole.
Yeah.
And it's like every level is kind of like them all sitting around and like talking about how they ended up in the hole.
Yeah.
So if the person you're playing as is in a hole, would you say he's an asshole? Because
Sure.
Dude, the guy
he is.
The guy who's running the holes is an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
Like, he's a dick.
But yeah, so the whole point, and that's kind of one of the things I do and don't like about it. Everything that happens in those cutscenes, it's like almost like a fucking Tarantino movie. Like everything happens like 85% of the way through gameplay. That's kind of where everything starts. Does that make sense? And then you just keep hearing, oh, let's talk about how this happened. Oh, and let's talk about how I got in the hole. And let's talk about how I got And finally, then it hits a point where now you're in the present, and then you move to whatever. And I do like some of the locations, but in one of the things that happens in this game versus Katamari, and I'm going to compare this to Katamari a lot because that's kind of how I feel. I mean, in Katamari, you slowly collect things to become bigger. In this, you collect things to... I don't want to say become bigger. I mean...
Wider?
If a hole is bigger, is it actually bigger?
More gaping.
Yeah, exactly. You gape more.
What is a hole but an absence of stuff?
Exactly. But more stuff falls into it. It's so weird. But...
I wonder if there's going to be a butthole mod for
Probably.
this.
I'm sure there is. So anyway, so as you are growing, and things can happen. Like you saw in this, I picked up a fire pit. And that meant that the hole became on fire. And so I was able to like have it under a hot air balloon, and it lifted it up. And there are other things like that happen throughout the game. You use water sometimes to affect things. Sometimes
a catapult that shoots things.
Yeah,
out
you
of the
eventually get a catapult mod for it that allows you to certain things you can shoot out of the hole and stuff like that. And so I like that aspect of it more than Katamari, which is simply just picking things up slowly. But what I will say is I never quite got the feeling I got in Katamari with the change in scale. In Katamari, early on, you're picking up tiny things, and you slowly kind of get larger. But then towards the last few levels of that game, you start picking up erasers at the beginning of the level, and at the end of it, you're picking up fucking islands. And just the fact that the scale of that changes so greatly. It's just, you go from, erasers to pencils to like dolls to teacups to small plants and animals to like benches to people to cars to fucking buildings to picking up Godzilla. Like that's one of the things I fucking loved about that game is just how great the scope and the scale of the levels change over time. That doesn't really happen with these, and I understand it's an indie game. It's definitely a smaller scope. Like I understand that.
I think, to be fair, in my opinion, I think we do this game a great disservice by comparing it to Katamari.
As I'm saying, I'm not trying to.
They are like two completely different things, and like really the only thing they have in common is that they're just like these kind of weird non-traditional games that like we don't really know how to describe otherwise. This is really more of like just a little indie game experience. They've got like one little story to tell. They've got like these kind of little puzzles they want you to solve, and like Katamari is just kind of this other thing. I don't know.
No, I agree.
But
I mean, I understand the comparisons.
I get why you would. I mean, I get like the superficial reasons why you would put those two together. I just don't think. I don't think it makes for a very nuanced discussion. I don't think it really takes into account what's cool about this game or what's cool about Katamari.
Well, no. I've said, I'm not saying this is a bad game. It's just it's hard to like I said, the first time I saw this, I thought of Katamari, and I still, to an extent, I think the music is fairly similar.
Sure.
The style of music is pretty
The
close.
the sad thing is that kind of
Sure,
like every
but, like-
discussion I've ever heard about this, even with like I've listened to several podcasts with like the actual developer who went on guests on shows to talk about it, and like it comes up every time.
Well, yeah,
And
I mean,
it's almost like
I mean,
It's,
like-
about getting bigger.
No,
it's very
but, like-
physicsy.
but, like,
it's
the thing-
flat shaded.
Like there's this like I don't know, like that is the only thing I've noticed about the discourse around this game is that there's this compulsion to critique it in response to Katamari, and like I really don't think
The
that
thing
was
is-
ever intended, or I don't think that's part of this game's real like ethos. Or
the thing is, I don't
anything
think
like
that's
that.
exclusive. I don't think that's really exclusive to
Like,
this and
we're
Katamari.
kinda-
I feel like
we're
that's the
kinda-
nature of discourse in this industry.
Yeah,
about
we're kind of
with
just like
so many games.
Exactly. You talk about the game in comparison to another game without really like putting the regard of the conversation on the subject, like on this game, on what it is doing and what it does. I mean, this is like an experience. This is like one of those. I almost put this in the same level as like those walking sim kind of games. You know,
Yeah.
like those kind of things that people would classify as a walking simulator.
I
Like,
also
this
get a
is
little
kind
bit of a Night in the Woods vibe.
a little bit, and so that's what. So Crispy, for me, one of the things I don't want to spoil certain experiences that happen in this game because, like you said, it is puzzly. There are certain puzzles that I really did enjoy. I played a fairly large majority of the game on the feed.
Yeah.
But I will say that, like I said, the things that this game has that Katamari doesn't is I think it does have an actual story. I do think there is, to an extent, character progression throughout the game.
for sure.
I do like the puzzle mechanics that happen, and the whole last segment of the game I think is really good. That happens in like a compound. I really like that.
stuff was
The only I compare it to Katamari because it's hard to talk about a game without comparing it to something else because a lot of the times, you know, I find that when I listen when I listen to our podcast sometimes, if it's like when I'm not on, sometimes shows, I'm like, I don't really understand what they're describing. Like sometimes I have trouble like kind of following along, and I think when you kind of compare it to something, it helps a little bit.
It does.
the benefit
And
of
I
the
get,
listener,
I get that need to like orient yourself,
Yeah.
and like provide some sort of context, but like, yeah, I'm like,
Like I said,
I don't know.
The
Like-
thing I was hoping for in this game was a experience where the scale does change. I was really hoping that later on in the game you got to the point where you were
The
sucking,
biggest holes.
Yeah, where you're sucking up buildings and shit like that.
Oh.
I thought that it would have been like
Maybe
do?
maybe
Well,
if you were
sorry,
a first
sorry.
person hole.
skyscrapers,
Yeah.
sucking up like the fucking pyramids at
guess.
Giza or something. You know, what I mean? It would have been. That's what I was kind of hoping for, and it didn't get there. And that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy my time with this game. I
Right.
definitely did, and I would recommend this game to anybody. I thought this game was fucking great.
You know what I've been hearing? You know, it's that's a couple hours long, and that it's such a the core mechanic is so kind of fun but simple, but there's potential there that it almost seems like from a mechanic standpoint, it almost seems like a wasted opportunity. Not so negative, but
but it's like when you play
want
a-
them to do so much more with it because the mechanic is
It's
so
like
cool.
when you
It
play
reminds me
a
of-
game jam game that like hooks onto an interesting
Well, that's
idea,
funny because that's exactly
but,
how this
like-
game
No,
started.
yeah, for sure, and that's what it feels like. It's like you play one of those game jam games, or you play like a Blendo game or something. It's like
I was
there's a
about to say
really neat-
Quadrilateral Cowboy.
There's a
before you cut me
neat
off.
concept in there, but like it's just kind of in service to this one little art piece instead of being this like whole
Grander
big-
Like
experience.
Quadrilateral Cowboy, though, like there's so many like dope ideas there. It almost seems like a shame that
No,
it's
and-
only about this short little experience, which is great in and of itself. But it's like
This game
they
has
made
a-
something so much more.
It has a lot of good ideas, like the fact that you suck up like fire, and then a piece of corn falls into the pit, and all of a
make
sudden
popcorn.
popcorn
Shooting
starts
popcorn
coming
out,
out.
yeah.
Like,
And you
dude, that's
use that to
fucking
solve a
cool. I
puzzle,
like
like-
that concept. I really like a lot of the like little like more gimmicky like kind of puzzly things in this game. They're fucking great.
Yeah.
I will agree. I thought it was a little on the short side, not for like the price I paid. I thought it had a very good price point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in general. I just wanted more.
Isn't this on mobile?
I
Probably.
don't. I would, yeah, maybe. Like I said, my only problem with it being short wasn't the price. It was just I literally just wanted more of the game.
Yeah. And I think that's a testament to how good it is, I think.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about it, just kind of a little detail, which is it's common in today, you know, modern gaming or whatever, but like it's so physics based. Like when
Oh,
the hole,
super, yeah.
like when you move the hole over something and it just kind of like teeters and falls
Yeah.
in, like that stuff's really cool. And I'm just the fact that you're doing so much more than like I don't want to keep going back to Katamari, but you know you kind of have one in that game or that style of game, you kind of have one goal.
It's a very
from
like
the
singular,
level.
like
Yeah,
mode
but in this one,
This is more
in
of
this
a
kind of
Nobi
thing you're doing.
Nobi boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That game, but like the fact that you're using different elements and different kind of things to move around and solve puzzles is actually a really cool idea. Oh my god, you just
Kate
fucked up the bird.
Takahashi's game is still. Remember they announced it like years ago, but never came out. Like Watam?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
that
Wait,
just
which game is this?
disappear.
I mean, I think it still exists. Watam?
Oh, is that supposed to be his like follow up to
Yeah.
Katamari?
Well,
Is that what
It's
you're
like
no.
his next
Or not-
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
but
he's
it's like-
done a lot of little things since
Yeah.
then. But yeah, projects outside of games as well. But yeah, that was a, I believe, Takahashi game.
Gotcha.
Nick, you should play it.
I will.
It's only 2 hours long.
I know, and
An hour and a half.
than
really.
2
What about me?
hours.
Do I play?
It's like it. I think my Steam clock is like 2 hours.
I ended up in
2.5.
this situation where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to play. I didn't want to start anything crazy before Horizon, or not Horizon, fucking Spider-Man came out.
This is not crazy. You
I
can
know,
knock this out.
I know, and that's why I thought about picking this up.
Yeah. It's real
It's not
chill,
on the
man.
But
It's not
I
on the
decided
Google
I decided
Store.
against it only because I still have a backlog of things, and there was a couple things on there that I probably could have knocked out, which is why I played what I am playing.
just pour yourself a glass of wine, light some candles.
Maybe I'll do that.
play Donut County. It's a very
I mean-
relaxing evening.
Perhaps I will. Perhaps I
Pamper
will.
yourself.
Let's jump around a little bit. Crispy, do you want to talk about your game? Because you literally brought this up the week before 1998 month started, and you couldn't talk about it because you were under embargo.
Yeah, sure.
And
Let's-
I've been
let's
wanting to
have
talk
the
about this forever.
Yeah, let's talk about
Tell
it.
me about fucking
So
Dead
I've been
Cells.
talking about. I've been playing Dead Cells.
How far did you get in Dead Cells?
Well, I put
This is
like
great.
20
I've
hours
been looking
into
forward
it.
to some
Oh, wow.
really good.
I only put
footage.
maybe like I put definitely less than that.
I played like 20 hours of it. As far as how far have I gotten,
yeah.
I don't know how
hard
to
to gauge.
answer that. Like, as far as I've gotten, like in a run through of the game, I've played, like 3 or 4 levels and beaten a boss. Okay, but like that doesn't mean shit because
Sure.
you have to do that every single time. I've made some pretty significant headway in like unlocking upgrades, which is kind of like the long-term progression of the
Correct.
game. So
Yeah.
you like as you play, you kill enemies and they drop cells, and there's this guy between every level. There is a safe space you go to. There's a guy there. You change your cells in for upgrades. Sometimes it's like passive character upgrades, like how many health flasks can you carry, like which you start the game with none.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then you finally get some, and that like is a huge boon to you at that time. You can upgrade how many of those you carry. You can upgrade like your luck. You can invest cells into rotating like item shop inventory. Whole bunch of stuff. You can unlock new weapons. That's the other kind of like big part of progression. From what I gather, is finding blueprints for weapon upgrades. Because whenever you start the game, it'll give you a selection of like 2 or 3 random weapons that you begin with, and that's kind of like what you're rolling with until you buy or find new weapons in the dungeons.
Yeah.
And what you start with can make a big deal. In this one, I happen to get an ice bow first try, which
Nice.
I don't normally get ice bows, and apparently from what I've read, from a lot of the research I've done, and from playing around with it for a little bit, it is a great secondary weapon because it lets you freeze everybody, which this game gets.
Cheap. I bet they hate you.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't really fucking care, man. But it's great because combat in this game gets like really fucking fast and hectic, like real quick.
Yeah.
This is still the first area, so it's pretty tame, but as I go on, you'll see there's more enemies, there's wider variety of attacks, they're all kind of like stacking on top of each other. You're trying your damnedest not to get hit because most hits, the farther on you go, are like devastating.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
pretty bad.
Like you get to a point where it's like no matter how much you've upgraded your health, you can only take like 5 or 6 hits from a certain enemy.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
This is also the first, like we talked about last month, kind of becoming this like unofficial like Metroidvania month. This was like one of the first ones that came out last month.
This was like the first one.
So in a month full of like Metroidvanias, we've all played a shit ton of Metroidvanias. I know this game kind of has a hook, and I've heard some talk about what that hook is, or like what the twist kind of is on this in terms of like the character. Can you kind of explain what's?
Well, I mean, I've kind of that's kind of what I was talking about with the cells.
Mm-hmm.
Like you die, but then I guess the whole like lore explanation behind this thing is that you're really just like this collection of like fungus or bacteria or something, and when you die, you just like get a new body. And so like you'll notice like the character doesn't really have a head. It's just kind of like this amorphous blob that kind of changes depending on what he's doing. And when you die, you go back to the original dungeon that you spawn in, and like your green fucking alien goo drops down on the floor and crawls into a new corpse, and you start over again. So that is kind of like the lore, quote unquote, explanation for the progression system of the game, why it is that you can collect these cells and level up and you retain those upgrades. I haven't gotten I don't know how long a run of this game is supposed to be. I don't know how many levels there are. I don't know how many bosses there are. I've only encountered one like dedicated boss level, so I feel like I'm still pretty early.
Yeah.
But like I've been grinding for like 20 hours. This game is crazy grinding.
I compare it to something like Rogue Legacy, where your first like 10, 20, 30 playthroughs, you get nowhere. It's like you don't get anything done, but you're slowly, like Chris was saying, collecting those cells, making that progression. As soon as you get to the end of the first level, spending them just because if I don't spend them, I'm probably gonna fucking lose them.
And it's probably one of those things where like if you're just better, like that was fucking terrible. If you're better than me, maybe you've made a lot more progress in 20 hours.
Have you ever made it to one of these
that's probably
doors?
True. Yeah. You have to. So the thing about the time doors is you just have to go. Like you can't explore the first level because it closes. So they run a game clock. That's another thing. When you're in these levels, they're running a continuous game clock.
And you can always see it while you're playing?
Yeah, you see it's right there above the map. 3 minutes, 7 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, man. I didn't see that.
So, when you're running through these worlds, by the time you get to the second stage and beyond, the maps have doors that are timed. And it's like the timer starts at the beginning of the game. Yeah. And you have to get to in the third level, there'll be doors that close at 8 minutes, which means you have to run through the first and the second level as quick as you can, get to the third level to unlock the doors. When you unlock the doors, all the ones I've gotten into so far have just been caches of cells and blueprints and equipment and really cool upgrades. The interesting thing about that is throughout the game, you are leveling up as you play. So you start at level 1 and you have 3 stats, and you're leveling those up as you play by finding these skill scrolls, okay? That means that you kind of scale as you go through your run through, but that also means that if you're trying to get these time doors and you're skipping your exploration and you're skipping really combing through those early levels, you get to the third stage without really having any levels,
Yeah.
So you're still really weak and you still have a really short health bar. And you've just gotten all these upgrades and these blueprints and everything, which you only get to keep if you make it to the end of the level.
Okay, so that's one thing I wasn't sure about. And, so unlike maybe some of the other games that we've played this month that are kind of comparable,
this game is not a Metroidvania.
You start from the very beginning every time you die. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I have specifically never played I know I've heard Nolan talk about roguelikes a lot, but I've never played
You never
one.
played Rogue Legacy?
Rogue Legacy?
No, never touched Rogue Legacy.
So good,
Dude,
man.
I played 100 hours of that game. It's so good.
He's played 10 minutes of FTL.
Oh yeah, I get that count. That's a rogue.
Yeah, it's
I guess
like
that's
that.
a roguelike.
It's like that. So if you die, you're going back to the beginning. You're only really the things that carry through. What I've upgraded so far is I've unlocked a decent number of weapons and I've unlocked a couple health flasks, and that's it. Beyond that, my character is about as weak at the beginning of a run through as he was the very first time I booted up the game.
Oh man,
roguelike Nick may have played.
I've never played a rogue.
But see, even unlike Rogue Legacy, I don't know. There's a level called the Black Bridge, and it's just a boss fight, and you have to fight that guy, and you get to go onto a new area. I don't even know if he's a main boss or a mini boss or whatever, because if he is a main boss, unlike Rogue Legacy, you don't save those boss wins.
Yeah.
You have to kill them all in one run through.
Gotcha.
which I don't know. Again, I
See, that's the one thing
I
that's
put
kinda,
20 hours into this game and I'm still like in the early game, so I have
But
no idea how it opens
heard
up.
that it's probably not as long as maybe you think it is.
Maybe, I guess.
But also,
I
like,
think you only have to go through 3 areas to technically get to the final boss.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shit.
well, that would explain a lot. I mean,
There's more than 3 areas
Right.
because you can diverge.
No, they're like every level has like 2 different paths you can go at the end to go to like different areas.
But I think you only have to beat 3 areas.
I guess as you explore, those areas kind of become clear, and you eventually get to the point where you realize what path you need to take to get to the kind of end game.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of like little secrets and other mechanics going on that like I don't know anything about yet. Like for instance, there's all these
cursed
there's all
chests.
these
I heard about
doors.
those.
Well, the cursed chest is pretty cool because it gives you items, but then like it gives you a curse where it's like you have to kill 10 enemies without
break
taking
it?
any damage
To break the curse.
to break the curse. If you kill 10 enemies without taking any damage, you break the curse and you get to keep whatever you got. If you take damage while you're cursed, you just die. And
That-
your run through's
That
over.
mission in Muspelheim
Moose.
and God of
Muspelheim?
War and God of War
Muspelheim?
was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Because that's right.
But like
God of War.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a really fun game, and it plays like the actual control of it is fucking beautiful. Like jumping around, attack, like rolling, dodging.
It looks
all that
very
shit.
fluid
like,
and
it is,
fun,
It is
and
very, very.
And that the feedback looks like you get when you like kill an enemy looks insane. Like,
yeah,
that looks
it's-
awesome.
It's great. Like it's really well put together. I just got to like
does
get
anybody- has
good
any-
enough to get through the game.
Did anybody play the game before it came out of early access?
I did.
I just
Does anybody know like how much has changed since that?
Well, I'm sure
version?
plenty has
The final
changed.
release,
I mean, I don't know all the finer details. I mean, that's the whole point of a game like this going into early access is because there are things that will be like completely broken in the game, and you have
Yeah.
to find those things.
I heard it's always been good.
Oh no, yeah, it's always definitely been good. Even since I first played it, however many fucking it was a long
I love
time
the
ago when
fucking
I first
aesthetic of
played
this
it.
game.
I've owned this game for months, but
Yeah.
still haven't touched it.
Really?
Well, because I was waiting for it to come out of
Final
early
release,
access,
yeah.
and then 1998 month happened.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I will say that from when I first played it the first time until now, I wouldn't say it's like 100% change. I mean, it's only a small percentage.
Yeah, I
they
mean,
added
there was
more
like little
stuff.
things like when it came out, they added like leaderboards and daily challenges and shit like that. But I've only been playing the retail version.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
yeah, it's,
Well, I have
it's
it
been
with
great.
courtesy
It's
of
always
Kenton,
been
so I'm gonna
hard.
eventually get to it.
This is kind of like my Rogue Legacy replacement game where like if I just want to play something and don't know what to play and have like 30 minutes to kill, this is the
Yeah.
kind of thing I would boot up.
Wait, what? Someone say my name?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Binding of Isaac and Rogue Legacy are 2 games you gotta fucking play, man.
Binding. I can already tell you, Binding of Isaac's probably not my jam.
Dude, it's like Legend of Zelda, man.
Hey, Crispy, I'm gonna make a recommendation to you.
What's up?
If you can, there's this game I played last year, a couple years ago, called A Robot Named Fight.
A robot named Fight?
It's a roguelike, almost like a pure roguelike, I think. I don't know if there's much progression, but it is like literally like Metroid, the roguelike, but it still maintains the elements that makes it very Metroid in terms of like navigation and exploration. It's not just sort of like, rooms that don't really have anything in it.
Linear
just
progressions.
Yeah. It's I recommend it. It's pretty cool.
A
Nick,
robot
Steam.
named Fight?
You know the concept of Rogue Legacy, right?
Specifically, I couldn't tell you.
Well, because in
I
this,
mean, I
Chris, we
know
talked about
basically
when
what
you
it is.
die, you lose stuff. So
Yeah.
between levels, you have to you spin those cells at merchants.
Yeah.
Versus Rogue Legacy, when you die, you lose half of your money.
Yeah.
But you get to keep all of the what are they the
No, you get to keep all the gold you made the last
oh sorry
run.
when you go into the castle
When you go into the
lose it all.
castle, you have to
Sorry.
pay death.
You have to pay
Yeah.
death X amount of your money. Early on, I think it's all of it. And then you'll get upgrades. It's like, 50%, and then less and less and less,
Yeah.
whatever. But the whole point of it is when you die, you're dead forever. And then you choose to play as one of that character's heirs. And you will always have 3 heirs, and they will have different stats that are kind of randomized.
Yeah.
But
different
like based
classes.
on whatever the
Yeah.
parent
So
was.
your character actually plays a little bit differently every time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Very. And then as you go, you upgrade your keep, your castle, which will like kind of make those are the more permanent.
I remember briefly
boosts.
talking about this back when you were playing it.
But dude, that game is so
and that
good.
sounds really interesting. For me,
the music's also fucking amazing.
For me, I've always just been really hesitant about roguelikes in general, just because from a conceptual standpoint, like the thought of like the repetitiveness of like playing levels over and over again.
That's what I was saying though about this game is like you can't approach it as like I'm gonna sit down and play 20 hours of this game. This is like a months long project. Yeah. This is like just something that whenever you need something to play for a little while, you just work on it.
I'll say this: Rogue Legacy, is that on the Switch?
Probably.
I will say Rogue Legacy is probably where you started to see people use the word roguelite.
Yeah, correct.
Because the progression is pretty heavy in that game. Yeah. So when you lose,
you're not actually losing everything.
You don't feel like you're really losing all that much.
You make a sense of progress.
All that much to spend on upgrades.
Gotcha.
This is a little less of a light, I think.
And I will say that unlike something like FTL or Binding of Isaac, where I kind of play them over and over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
Rogue Legacy does kind of have like an end. I mean, like Chris was saying, whenever you beat a boss, that boss is gone. Yeah, they don't come back.
Lock on the door.
It's just
we don't know.
There's 4 bosses you're trying to beat in Rogue Legacy, and then it opens the door to the final boss.
And when you finish Rogue Legacy, you feel like, oh, I beat a game.
Yeah, you feel like you're done.
When you finish FTL, you're like, okay, let's do another run.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
See, those are the kinds of games I don't really do it for me.
But I feel like
right up your
when
alley,
you
man.
beat the final boss ultimately of Dead Cells, you will probably feel satisfied like you beat a game.
I mean, I would recommend
it is one you inch through. It is not one you play repeatedly.
I have it. Like I said, courtesy of Kenton. He gifted me this game months ago, so I have it. It's loaded up. I haven't installed it.
Like imagine only playing Into the Breach one time.
Maybe I'll try it tomorrow.
That's like absurd.
It's pretty great.
Maybe I'll try it tomorrow while I'm waiting for Spider-Man to get here.
But we got other stuff to get to.
We do. Can we talk about fucking Guacamelee 2 for a minute?
Let's do it.
Because holy shit. Played through this game.
Did you beat it, Nick?
I did.
You beat it, Brad?
Just like, no, no.
Not only did I beat it.
He's got a hyperbolic time chamber.
No, I
like beat it in 2 days.
I just don't have a baby.
No, that's not it. I feel like you've definitely recently have obtained more video game time.
Well, yeah, you know what that is? What? My girlfriend moved in with me, so...
What did I live with...
To me, that sounds like I'd have less time.
I live with a lady, but she doesn't let me sit around
I've seen this before. Because you guys live together, you don't feel the need to be, like, spending time together all the time.
we both play... We both play games together. Most weekends we have like a day where we spend like 6 hours like in our separate rooms just playing.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
she's playing.
But like when you weren't living together,
she platinum God of War and she's playing Watch Dogs 2 now.
But when you weren't living together, like you'd have to go over to her apartment and like hang out with her for the evening.
And that
now she's just in your house where you play your video games, doing whatever.
Let's talk about Guacamelee too.
Yeah,
oh my God,
I get it. Now.
Nick, you don't have to be the chicken for this challenge.
I know. Wait, why? I played as this chicken the whole game.
Well, you've been playing this too.
Yeah, I'm at the final boss.
Okay.
Nick, Nick, all you do is you do a boost across and then you jump up.
I know. Trust me. I tried this a few times. Let me just say this. I've done the hardest platforming challenge in this game. I got all the keys, and I unlocked the key.
Did you finish the chicken area?
I did, and there is an insane platforming challenge.
I will say that in the chicken challenge chamber, I said fuck this.
I know, and I did it.
That was fucking stupid.
I did
it. Really? Y'all didn't do it? You didn't do it?
I started it, and then I didn't give up. I decided that my life was better suited not doing it.
That sounds an awful lot like giving up.
No. I didn't give up. I readjusted my priorities.
Exactly. Dude, fuck that shit.
Dude, I did it.
You just gave up there?
Yeah, no, I did. Because this, like I said, I recorded this.
You fucking ran into that.
I know. Dude, this is what I'm saying about my footage.
You're bad.
Guys, I recorded this footage tonight, and I hadn't played the game since last weekend, and I've been playing other stuff since then, so I was rusty,
So what I will say is there are other roguelikes I've played this month. Multiple others, at least.
You said roguelikes or?
Sorry, Metroidvania. Sorry. We were talking about roguelites. This is probably my favorite one.
Dude,
Guacamelee is so good.
I
have been playing this.
Like, I will say that the thing that I enjoy so much about Guacamelee, you fucking have the ultimate thing. That's why you're getting through this challenge.
You get that after you...
I know.
Yeah,
but that's such a fucking sheep thing to do. You're not supposed to have that.
But literally,
yet.
that was the last thing I did.
I know.
I did. Don't...
all right, anyway.
Come at me, bro.
Anyway, it's just this game is just... like I played this, and I will say we're gonna talk about Chasm later.
Yes.
And I captured footage after playing fucking 10 hours of this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, Chasm feels like dog shit. Not because like it's bad. It's just because Guacamelee is so fast paced, and you have so much control, and you can you're fucking doing double jumps and flips and punches and like uppercuts and dashes and and you can just do so much.
The
like in
different
the way
I know it's a completely different
You're out
style.
of line, sir.
It's so crazy because
You're out of
like
line.
there's so many different Metroidvanias, quote unquote, that came out last month, and they're all so unique in their design.
They're all different.
They're
yeah, I
all
know.
dramatically different, but like this game feels glorious. Just moving through it and switching between abilities, the progression of the character. It's so lighthearted, and it's just so colorful, and the music is still fucking amazing. I will say this: I do think it's a little too samey. Like it's a little too like the first one. It really just feels like more Guacamelee.
My biggest complaint of this game is yes, it does feel like more of Guacamelee.
But the strength of Guacamelee is like it is a game that when you start it, you're like, okay, these are some solid mechanics. But what they really surprise you with is how they keep mixing up like the level design and the encounter design, and it's like this is like really clever. Like I can't believe. And even though I had seen like the realm shifting stuff in the first one, when they started like the moving realm shifting, it's like
Did anybody
this
see
is like kind of brilliant.
Did anybody
it's
see the
fucking
key?
tricky?
Did anybody see the video I posted of the challenge where you're?
No, I didn't see it because I fucking did it.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Okay, hold on. Can I explain
No.
my situation with this game?
Yeah.
So, okay. Earlier in the month, we'll talk about Chasm, right?
Yes.
I played Chasm on hard, and I found it super rewarding. It was challenging,
yes,
but I found it super rewarding. And, you know, that's not the only thing I played on hard recently. So, I found out that if you enter, like, a Konami code alike at the menu screen, you can start the game for the first time on hard mode. Normally, you have to beat the game to unlock hard mode. But if you enter the Konami code, you can play on hard mode. So I started on hard mode, thinking, well, the combat will be harder, but the platforming's probably all going to be the same, right? Well, I play about 2.5 hours of this game on hard. It is very fucking hard.
Yeah.
And it's not just the combat, which is real fucking hard. It's because the platforming like introduces like kind of these bullet type elements, like these, like, you know, the kind
One
of the
hit kill
white and purple
projectiles.
stuff, the white and purple stuff, which does.
Are they one hit kills or they just
There
you can't
are
dodge
one hit
them?
kill projectiles, but even the regular projectiles, which just do damage.
Oh, sorry. The red projectiles are one hit kills. The white and purple are you can't dodge them. They don't kill you,
Correct,
but you can't
but they do
dodge them.
damage. But now they do more damage.
Yeah.
On hard. So now the platforming is harder, and I got to like the boss of like the Jade Temple or whatever, like the first major dungeon, and it's like the bosses are a lot harder too, and that's where it can get the balance felt off. Because I feel like even in the first game, the bosses were always got a little bit challenging, especially towards the end. But this was just like a kick in the dick.
I will say,
but
not
you can't turn it down.
That's
I'm
a shame.
gonna have to start the game over again because I don't think I want to keep going with hard.
I
Because
will say
I don't want the platforming and the bosses to be harder. I just wanted combat encounters.
I will say this: I think this game is plenty hard even on normal.
But people were telling me it was kind of easy. People were saying that about the Messenger as well. And
I mean, here's the thing.
I don't know. I thought it
If
was
you
pretty
mainline, if you kind of mainline the game without the intention of like stopping every 5 minutes to try and do all this extra stuff that's kind of around the edges of it, yeah, it might seem kind of easy. But anytime you wander off the beaten path in this game and try and get the extra stuff to like make your character better or find secrets, that shit is always like
all the challenges.
So
are
many
pretty
times in
difficult.
this game, I stopped and was like, dude, fuck whoever designed this. Fuck them. Jesus Christ.
But I was just super glad that I did it in Chasm.
Yeah.
In the
And
most
it's just
loving way possible.
Not
fuck
all
them.
games are.
Yeah, not
the
all
same.
hard modes are created
and it's
equal.
really kind of like I love the combat. You know, the first Guacamelee was my game of the year that year. In a year that I also played The Wonderful 101, The Last of Us. I think
Yes,
it was a great year. But I love Guacamelee and I love this. But the combat's really fun. But like the enemies, especially in this one, are so large and chunky and often have these like auras and stuff that it's really easy to kind of lose the action. And when you take so much damage from every hit, it becomes kind of not as fun as Guacamelee can be.
I think you'll find it
rewarding because the mechanics are there, but it's still kind of hard to follow sometimes.
Yes, it is hard to follow, especially because there are a lot of
and there are times when there's like a shit ton of enemies.
There are a lot of combat scenarios in this game where they throw, in my opinion, way too much at you at once.
Yeah. Brett, did you ever? I know you're not. I know you're having difficulties on hard and stuff. Did you get to the point where you have the ability to heal yourself?
No.
Okay, that one does help a lot, provided you are able to, because there are scenarios where there are so many enemies you don't have a chance to.
It's kind of like
what's funny?
Healing?
Yes.
You know what's funny? I completely I got to the end of the game and I did the final boss and I was like dying over and over again. I was like, what the fuck? I had completely forgotten about that ability.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't use it once until the final boss.
I had to use it on the
how hard could it be?
The Jaguar fight.
Oh yeah, wait, that's what the boss I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Not the final boss, the Jaguar. There are some crazy fucking fights in this game, and there's some insanely.
Is there a limit to like that?
Well, that is what you get for doing the hard.
For doing the most difficult challenge in the game.
You get unlimited.
You get the ability to do unlimited dashes. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was literally
But
Brad, I did
it's
that challenge.
not.
I'm just
The first part of that challenge, the thing that Nick had to do to get this, I probably spent half an hour on.
It's so bad.
Not even the first, the first obstacle in that room.
There's like six. There's like six rooms.
I spent like half an hour on,
and I was like,
"Fuck this shit."
I will also say this: the second room is the worst.
I have a high stamina for that kind of stuff.
Good. I mean, the thing is, like, the game is so fun and it feels so good to control that, like, any other game, I probably would have said "fuck this" and stopped immediately. But like, I do love the way this game feels. I love the way it controls. I love the way it looks, the way it sounds. I can't stop smiling. Like, the humor in this game is so fucking.
It is
funny.
pretty good.
It's so good. There are so many good things.
What's up, Chris? You got a thought?
Did they change the music that you listen to while you're playing?
How do you mean?
I mean, like, I've been playing Guacamelee 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
It's very similar.
And it's just that one.
Yeah. It's pretty much.
Seared into my brain.
It's a lot of that. Yeah.
It's into my brain.
Get ready, because you're going to get a lot more of it. I mean, there's new tracks, obviously, here and there. But they kind of left that as.
See, Nick, I did all of these challenge before even attempting the chicken
you understand?
room.
Like, I did all of this shit, and I didn't 100% the map in this game.
I have,
but like I know, but I didn't. My only thing I wanted to do was do the final platforming challenge, get the key, see what happens. You get a good quote unquote ending to the game for doing that. I wanted to see that roll, and then I was done. So when I went back to record footage, I was just like, I got to find some stuff to do for this footage, so I was looking for things that I hadn't done yet, and yes, I have the infinite chicken fly.
You know one thing that is bothering me?
The Pollo Dash.
You get all these different outfits and it's cool, but like
I love the one Nick's wearing now. As soon as I got this one, I wore it the rest of the game.
You're only ever gonna play as fucking Juan because
I didn't.
But all the like cutscenes and stuff don't make fucking sense.
Correct.
And then
they don't.
The cutaways when you get new powers and stuff, it's all Juan.
Well, here's the thing. Like, one thing we haven't even touched on because nobody here has played it like this, and I'm wondering. I haven't seen anybody talk about it. This game was designed with multiplayer in mind. Like, you're supposed to have additional players in.
That fucking reminds me. My most hated thing about this game is that stupid one that keeps appearing. I swear to God, they need to patch the option to make that never appear because what the fuck?
Wait, what?
The stupid one that keeps appearing.
The number that appears over your character's head. You'll see it.
You
do. Everyone has it. You can't turn it off. You probably just stopped seeing it.
Probably.
But I'm still early,
What are you playing
and it
this on?
drives me crazy. PS4.
Oh, I'm playing on PC. I don't see that. Maybe they patched it.
You don't see the one?
Maybe they. Well, I see it now. But I'm saying I don't see it on PC.
God, you can't make it go away.
Is there not multiplayer in the PC version?
No, there is, but I'm just saying I don't think I see that one.
Motherfucker.
Let me boot up my PC version maybe after
Why can't you turn it off?
I don't know. It drives me crazy. But also, I was playing this and I was thinking to myself, how the fuck do you play this with multiple people? I can't even keep track of
platforming stuff.
Yeah, I can't. Like, what is the point? I can't even keep track of this game. There's so much meat to this game.
Multiplayer to the first game.
There is so much meat to this game. So much happening at any given moment. There's so many enemies on screen. So much crazy shit happening. How do you even handle that many people playing on screen at once? I don't even. That doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe I need to try it, see what's going on there, but. Honestly, I had no desire to play this with multiple people at all.
It was pretty fun in the first game.
Of course not. I mean, this is a single player game, man. Come on.
But it's so good. This game is so
This
fun.
game's fantastic. Yeah.
And it's so fucking delightful. There's so many great references, too.
Dude, oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Just similar to the first game, there's so many...
Dude,
But there's a couple of levels in this that are unlike any other level. There's a section of this game, and I won't go too much into it, but it is a turn-based like RPG style.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all I'm gonna say. But it's fucking fantastic.
Dude, also, like, so there's jokes obviously being made all the time that are referencing, like, pop culture and
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Robin was playing this, or watching me play this and stuff. This game is the reason I watched an episode of The Community.
Wait, what was the community
When
one?
the first time I went to the room and it's like, you were entering the darkest timeline.
Oh,
She was like,
yeah.
stop what you're doing
The
right
darkest
now.
timeline.
We're going to watch the
Oh,
episode
that's
of
just
Community.
kind of like internet.
Wait,
stuff.
You're
I
gonna
don't-
watch that
I know,
episode of
right?
I've never
Community?
seen it. I didn't know what it was. She's
That's
like,
fine.
You're the
Crispy.
worst. You're the worst
I didn't
human.
say, okay,
Nick.
first of all,
You're the worst human.
let's all jump off my dick. I didn't say it was a bad show. I
Crispy.
just never watched it.
Crow from MST3K has like a cameo in this. Well, not like he's like in the background on one of the things.
Really?
Yeah.
There's so
As,
many. Great
as soon as I saw it, I'm
Crow
like,
T
there's
Robot?
yeah,
Also,
Crow T
like,
he's
Robot.
up on the record.
There's no
and also
debating
it
that's
would
who
be
it
dumb
is.
to like not mention like Carlos's. There's a room.
There
made for
is a
Carlos.
world that is like memes. Yeah. It's like all memes.
This
Oh,
is
is it
this is
that
all exciting stuff, but
Dank
those
cave?
are all surprises. So let's not talk too much about that stuff.
Okay.
So many good things. This game is fantastic. Don't miss it. Especially if you've never played Guacamelee 1, just start with 2. This game is so.
Hey,
One's pretty good.
One's pretty good, but like if you have to pick one, I don't know.
I mean, both.
why do you have to pick?
Yeah,
one?
I'm
Neither of them are extremely long. That was a really good transition.
Nice.
No, like it looked like you died and were like teleported over here. Yeah, no, I would not say skip one. One's a fantastic game. And neither of them are extremely long either. I would say they're like one is what, like maybe 7-8 hours, and this is probably like
Depends
10.
on how much you do. I clocked in at 16 hours when I finished this.
Really?
I mean, that's after I spent like a lot of time in those platforms.
I guess so. I'm like at maybe 11 hours, and I'm almost at the very end. I'm debating if I want to finish the chicken thing.
There's
just so I
probably
can
like 3 or 4
say I
hours
did
that
it.
is just trying over and over and over
Yeah.
again on those challenges and shit. Because some of this shit is so brutally difficult,
Yeah.
but it's so satisfying. It's just fun to play. So I didn't find myself getting too frustrated with it because it just feels so good. Anything else you want to say about this? No.
No. I
Guacamelee
mean,
2 is pretty fucking dope.
It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I'm almost done with it. The only reason I didn't finish it was just because since our last podcast, I've maybe put a grand total of like 5 hours into gaming. But yeah,
That's unfortunate.
it is.
All right. We need to probably take a quick break.
Yeah.
We can do one more.
Let's do one more.
Oh shit, we're doing one
I have
more.
a couple of games. I haven't
Let it
gotten any.
ride.
All right, Brad, go.
What would you like to hear about?
Surprise us.
Maybe okay. If you think it's going to be a game you're going to talk about more than like 10 minutes, save it for after the break.
Okay, let's talk about The Messenger.
Oh, okay. I figured that'd be the one we talk about most about, but okay. Cool.
No, well, I mean, I'm not going to talk about either for very long.
I am eager to hear about this because people have been talking this up quite a bit.
I started playing The Messenger. Now, while I am still
Was it
obviously
like
very
MSN?
excited to play, Dead Cells and Guacamelee, this is the one I got for my Switch because Guacamelee's not on the Switch and Dead Cells doesn't run all that great on the Switch, but The Messenger runs fine on the Switch. And that's what I've been playing during my lunches. And it's really cool. So this one might not technically seem like part of Metroidvania month at first because it seems more of like a straightforward old school action game, kind of like a Shovel Knight.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a sort of a twist in this game where at a certain point in the game you kind of unlock the 16-bit realm or whatever, and then it kind of becomes a Metroidvania, but I'm not that far yet. Right now, it's just been a really solid. I start with a boss. That's just how my footage. I mean, that's just where I was in the game. So where I am now, it just seems like Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
Like kind of while Shovel Knight was sort of, Castlevania, Mega Man, and I guess DuckTales, right? Because of the Pogo stuff. This is obviously very inspired by Ninja Gaiden. And even though it does have like little nods, stuff like like Castlevania, like you're hitting candles and stuff a lot, but it is very Ninja Gaiden in the way it plays, the way you stick to walls, the way the enemies respawn. Super classic Ninja Gaiden, and it feels really good to kind of jump around and slash. You can slash real fast and run and slash. It's very different than say something I played earlier in the year, which was Curse of the Moon, which was very classic Castlevania, which is very slow and deliberate versus something like this. And the strengths of this game are kind of the strengths of something like Shovel Knight or any of the stuff we've been talking about tonight, right? It has really strong level design, which we might see when I get out of this boss fight.
Maybe.
But it kind of keeps surprising you with how like tricky some of that stuff can get. And I recently got this ninja float kind of thing where I can.
Looks like you're like taking a nap.
Yeah, I thought this boss fight was over, but then I realized, oh wait, this has become like a flying thing. All these pickups or these star-looking things are refill my ninja stars, which I can throw. I can only hold 3 of them right now. There is some progression in this game. You do upgrade. There's a shopkeeper. Like this game has a surprisingly good sense of humor. I guess you don't maybe really expect it because it kind of looks like a straightforward like old school action game.
Yeah.
But it is very self-aware and like the writing's pretty clever. You spend a lot of time like talking to the shopkeeper that you come across like at all these like save points where you upgrade and stuff, and that dude's really funny. He'll like tell you stories and stuff, and there's little things in his room that you can fuck with, and it's surprisingly well done actually. I'm talking about this game, and it's like this really fun game, but I haven't gotten to the big twist, the big hook thing to it, like you're saying, kind of the 8-bit style, and like it's totally like y'all should totally play it.
It's on my
but
to-do list.
we just looked at Dead Cells and Guacamelee, and those are not trying to look like an 8-bit game.
Correct.
You know what I mean? They're like very visually like bombastic and. Like same with the gameplay. This is something very different. I mean, I guess we'll talk about Chasm in a second, but this is very much trying to be a certain style, a certain thing, and it does it really well, surprisingly well, even better than like a Shovel Knight, like better than they did it back then. Even though it looks and kind of feels like like this is there's a lot to this game, and it's been really fun. I've only played a few hours, and I haven't gotten to that twist yet, but after a few bosses and several areas, I'm having a really good time with this game. Now that I'm finally in an area, I can talk a little bit about the mechanics. So one of the, I guess, the core mechanics in this game is every time you hit something in the air with your sword, it refreshes your jump. So you can keep. This is funny. Are we having?
Yes. Just talk through it, Brad. There's nothing we can do about it.
You refresh your jump, so you get into these situations where you can keep yourself up in the air, but not just hitting enemies, but hitting these candles or hitting enemy projectiles. Pretty much anything you can attack with your sword, it'll refresh your double jump, so you can kind of keep yourself up in the air.
Yeah.
And you'll get into these,
Indefinitely?
both platforming challenges and combat challenges where it is ideal. Like you want to keep yourself up in the air, and you can even bypass tricky parts of the level by smartly jumping off of enemy projectiles and stuff. So I mean it's a pretty cool mechanic. The only thing that has been really bothering me in this game, outside of you're very sticky, you stick to walls, that's very Ninja Gaiden, and sometimes in the more narrower areas I find myself getting into trouble. Accidentally sticking to a wall when I'm trying to like direct my attack a certain direction because you're so sticky. But I would say the thing that is crazy, the most crazy, is the notorious enemy respawning, which is very Ninja Gaiden, where as soon as an enemy like leaves the screen, if you scroll back in that direction, he will have already respawned. It's not like Castlevania, where if you leave the room and come back, they respawn. Like the area, but they leave the screen and come back. So you'll get into these tricky platforming or combat challenges and totally forget that since you move the screen back a little bit or up a little bit if you're in a more like vertical oriented thing, that enemy that you just killed like a split second ago is back again, now shooting his projectile again, and totally fucked you over. So you have to be like really mindful of that. But they do that on purpose because that's how it was in Ninja Gaiden. But some of the most notorious shit in old school Ninja Gaiden is like these instantly respawning birds and stuff that were just like ruining your fucking life. It's absolutely nuts. But it definitely keeps you on your toes, and it gives it a different feel than pretty much anything else. What are you
collecting? What are those little?
That's like your kind of your currency that you use to upgrade your character.
Teardrops?
No, like crystals.
Okay,
they're like crystals. One of the mechanics is when you die, this little like devil appears.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, dude, I'm gonna like, for a while, I'm just gonna eat all your currency that you pick up.
Oh wow.
And he eventually goes away and stops like eating all your currency. But I guess like that's the way they punish you for dying. But the thing that's weird about it is, when you die, you don't actually lose the currency you've obtained up to that point. It's kind of like,
What is this? Is this the room you're talking about?
yeah, this is the shopkeeper that periodically
That's
appears.
cool.
He tells stories. This guy's really funny, actually. Definitely, when you play this game, definitely talk to this guy and listen to all his stories. It gets really kind of out there, and there's some fourth wall breaking and stuff. It's surprisingly good, or it's very self-aware, and it's funny. What was I saying?
You're talking about him eating your currency. When you die, you don't lose it. Or...
Oh well, so what it is like if I gained a bunch of of this currency and I die, I don't actually lose what I've gained since that last checkpoint. So you go back to it, and when you start playing again, he starts eating your currency up into a point. But I think all he's really there is to prevent you from kind of farming currency, dying, farming, dying, and going back and forth to like build currency. He's kind of there to prevent you from building a surplus by dying, since you don't lose what you've obtained on death. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So it almost feels like
It's not really much of a punishment.
it's not really much of a punishment, no. But I mean, the game in and of itself can be really challenging, especially in the moment to moment. It's just funny because this stuff looks so 8-bit, but it actually like feels really good to play, and it's like a really good homage. But again, I can't stress enough how much like the game gets to a point where like the whole visual style and the music and everything changes, which the music is really good, but then they have like 16-bit versions of all those tracks too, and it's
Is
very...
there like a story explanation for why it suddenly becomes 16-bit?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I mean
Gustavus
there's
says
plenty
yes.
of story in this game, and I don't doubt that.
Gustavus has a massive erection off camera.
Well, no, it also opens up and
He's
becomes kind of...
waggling at us.
Let's not go with massive.
It also
okay?
opens up and
Well-
becomes a Metroidvania in kind of a way you wouldn't expect.
Sure.
And there's kind of like realm shifting stuff, a little bit like Guacamelee as well, with between the two visual styles. And
I was literally on the Switch in the store, ready to buy this game, and then I realized I need a break from these, because I had played Chasm and Guacamelee 2 back to back.
but they're also different.
I know
though.
they're very different, but like I just needed to play. I needed to play something that wasn't.
That's quicksand,
I know.
so it's very sticky down there.
It sounds horrible to say. I needed to play something that wasn't side scroll.
It's bad timing, and I feel like game's gonna get overlooked a little bit, but it really is.
Yeah,
Like-
I think a lot of the stuff
Like
that
the
came out this
super
month,
dope flight, just like all these other games that are coming out.
I don't think it's getting overlooked quite like Death's Gambit, which none of us have even
Or
tried yet.
Chasm as well. It really got overlooked. I mean, we played it, but not many others did.
Very true. Very true. Which we'll talk about Chasm in a second, probably after the break. Is there anything else you want to say about this? I guess we'll talk more about it.
I mean, I got to play more, and once I do get to the big
16-bit.
changes that this game like reaches, I'll talk about it again on the podcast.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick
Music's
break.
really fucking good.
Well, you sold me. I do want to hear the soundtrack. So, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have more impressions. We'll talk about Chasm. I'll talk a little bit about Horizon, which is what I'm kind of been playing lately. And I think we have a few other things.
Yakuza, Chasm.
Kiwami 2. So yeah, don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break, and we have a lot more games and questions from our supporters on Patreon, so don't go anywhere. Everybody, welcome back to the show. We just had a bit of a long break, but we're back. We're ready to talk about video games, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's next? I think we have 3 more games to talk about. Brad, you want to talk about Yakuza Kiwami 2?
Do it, Brad.
As you said,
I got some footage.
Let's
Let's talk about it. Yakuza Kiwami 2.
What'd you say? This is
The fourth Yakuza game since the start of 2017.
That's so ridiculous.
This is getting out of hand. I feel like we've talked about Yakuza.
You know,
so
it's
much.
funny too because I burnt out on the series back when they were coming out like every couple of years.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Clearly not.
Well, I mean, remember I fell off, and
Brad
then
fell off for several years.
I got back on with Yakuza 0, which was one of my favorite games of last year.
My God. My God.
I skipped Kiwami 1 because I wasn't ready to jump back into Yakuza. I did play through 6.
Are you fucking serious? This makes absolutely no sense at all.
Oh, I love life. Life's so good, man.
It's something we got to figure out for sure. This one has some frame rate issues. It's very choppy.
Dude,
very choppy.
We should
Poorly
just
optimized.
Why
Sega.
did you stop the recording, Chris Davis? We should have just recorded the podcast without recording the podcast.
Yeah.
Because when we're not recording the podcast, it doesn't hitch.
Wow.
Wait, are we not
No, we are.
recording?
We're recording.
I mean, no, we're not recording. What are you talking
Let
about?
me just quickly
this is
talk
a break.
about
Let's talk
Kiwami
about
2.
Yakuza during the break.
Yakuza Kiwami 2. It is a remake of Yakuza 2 using the Yakuza 6 engine. I played through Yakuza 6 earlier this year. I was impressed with the new engine and the new tech.
Did you play Kiwami?
I did. I own Kiwami 1. I dabbled in Kiwami 1. I did not play through Kiwami 1.
Okay.
Last year was nuts.
Do you know what drives me crazy about these games?
What?
I could not pick.
The hitching?
No. I cannot tell the difference
Between
this
they're
and
Asians,
Sick.
Nick. What is wrong with you?
No, so
Nick?
oh
my God!
God.
They all look the same, huh? Every Yakuza game looks the same to Nick over here.
Jesus Christ,
No,
Nick.
let me explain,
Learn
let me
to
explain.
differentiate by clothing
Let me
colors.
explain why these look so similar. First of all,
I hate all of you.
in the Yakuza games, you're always in Kamurocho, which is
You are always in the
like
same city.
the Kabukicho district of Tokyo. If you go there in real life, it's very similar. It's like the red light district. You're always there, right? Now, this is Sotenburi, which is in Osaka, which is fictional, but it's based on a real town.
Osaka's
that looks
real.
like this. But the thing is, this is the only other game where you go to Sotenburi is Yakuza 2, which came out in 2006 or whatever.
Yes.
And Yakuza 0, which coincidentally came out last year.
Majima's story takes place in Sotenbori.
In Sotenbori. So even though those two games are technically really far apart in terms of release, like when you go to Sotenbori and Yakuza 0, it's like cool if you play Yakuza 2 way back then because it's like, oh, cool. I mean,
This place.
I'm back in this place. But here, you were just there last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In
Oh,
Yakuza
I know
0.
what you mean.
In Yakuza 0.
How
So-
different is Sotenbori in this from the...
Well, since it's the Yakuza 6 engine, it kind of feels a little bit different. But I mean, it's still that same,
Wait,
it's still got that river. I mean,
was
it's the
Zero
same
in the
place.
Yakuza 5 engine?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
okay, yeah.
The old Yakuza engine. Yeah. So Yakuza 0 was, and Yakuza Kiwami 1 was that old engine as well.
Gotcha.
But
This
I
one
was
and
impressed with the new engine. You know, kind of seamlessly going in and out of like interiors and whatnot, and just kind of it feels a lot better moving around the
It looked
world.
very seamless to
And-
me.
And and Yakuza 2 was my favorite game in the series
Oh,
until
really?
0. I really like the story, mostly because the villain in Yakuza 2, the Dragon of Kansai, is like the best villain in the series. He's fucking awesome, and it's I just like the story of 2, and it gets crazy towards the end. So I really want to play this one again, and I have been enjoying it quite a bit, you know, because this is younger kind of I mean he's not young, but this is younger Kiryu, unlike Yakuza 6 where he's like, you know, an older man.
Dad Kiryu.
Here he's
Running around with a baby.
Here he's more a little bit spicy Kiryu, you know what I mean? Like when you first run into, you know, the Ryuji Goda, the main villain, the Dragon of Kansai, you're in like a club, right? I think you're actually in what's it called? The club that is run by Majima.
Oh,
The
Grand.
The Grand, right?
yeah,
You're in the Grand.
Hey, look, it's Virtual On.
And it's the scene.
Damn.
It's the scene. Yeah, this is Virtual On, which is funny because we were playing this during 1998 month.
Damn. Look at that.
And I actually play a little bit here. What in the scene when you first meet him is like he's like sitting at a table with his crew, right? The bad guy. And one of his his henchmen calls him the Dragon of Kansai,
Oh!
which everybody refers to him as.
That's the demo we played at E3 to get
Yeah,
the
yeah,
hat.
okay,
yeah.
But he
We're
hates
like,
that name because he's like, don't call me the Dragon
He,
of
like,
Kansai.
beats the shit out
I'm
of
the
that
Dragon of fucking everything. And even he knows that Kiryu is the Dragon of Dojima, right? You know, but he hates the name Dragon of Kansai because he's like, no. I'm the dragon of everything. Don't call me that. And then Kiryu, who's like 2 booths over, he says, Dragon of Kansai. After he was about to kill one of his henchmen for saying that. He just beat the shit out of him, has a broken bottle up to his neck, and you see Kiryu say it. You know, it's like, it's so spicy. He wouldn't have done that in Yakuza 6 because, you know, he's like all worried about fucking Haruka and he's out of the game, you know. Here, he's out of the game, but it pulls him back in and he's like, I don't care. I'll let it pull me back in. You know, it's just a kind of a different...
got nothing to lose.
Yeah. And it's just a good story, good setup, good villain. I really enjoy it. And, you know, I like this new engine. So I'm playing it, and it's still Yakuza. I'm still going to do some karaoke. I'm going to play some... I think they got Virtual Fighter 2 in this one, which is really cool. And you know, it's fucking Yakuza. I mean, it's a little bit tighter than Yakuza 6, which has some issues. Like, the combat's a little bit better, but it's still that very physicsy thing where you can, like, you know, ping pong dudes around into each other, which is really cool. You got charge moves in this one. Did they also, like, the first skill you get in this game in like the first half hour after well, the second half hour, because the first half hour is cutscenes. The first skill you get is the sub story finder. It is a skill in this one, and it's the first one you get.
That's good.
And so they immediately start popping up the sub stories on the map.
They know what you want,
and it's like amazing.
How is the physics like moving around the world? I know you had some difficulties with that in 6. Had they improved on it at all? I know it's the same engine.
It feels the same, but the point was in 6 is you actually can move around the world as opposed to the older Yakuza engine where you just get like stuck to every fucking wall and bench and bike. Now you just kind of move through it. So that stuff's still pretty good here.
You mean clip through it?
No, you don't clip through it. It's all physics. You just kind of knock it all over and stuff. It's pretty cool.
I got you.
I can't even make a joke.
Oh, guys. Clip. I get it. It's clipping. So I will say just to like wrap this up, this does have a noticeably like lower budget than Yakuza 6 because this is just sort of a...
I mean, these
remakes are not full price games. They're cheaper and you know it's just a way to present that old story. So all like the systems and stuff are ripped straight out of 6, and there's even stuff like this is not fully voice acted like 6 was. So the sub stories and stuff you're reading.
Well, yeah, I mean it's not a new game. They didn't. I'm assuming.
Did they re-record the voice acting that is there?
No, but back then there was only voice acting in like cutscenes and stuff. So and it's like that now. But so like the sub stories and stuff don't have like all the voice acting like 6 did, which every line was voice acted. So obviously there's a budget.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Brad. Is with 6 they made a brand new game, whereas this is like a remake. They would have had to have like done.
Which I don't know if they re-recorded like the cutscenes and stuff in this. I mean, obviously they did visually, but it's probably the same voice tracks. I don't actually know how they do that. I haven't really looked into it, but it is a really like I know a lot of people played 0 and they liked 0 and maybe they skipped Kiwami or they dabbled in Kiwami, and some people skip 6, right? Because that's kind of intense because it's like the end of his story. I will say that I think if you've skipped 6 but kind of want to try out the new Yakuza engine, maybe pick up Kiwami 2. It's a really cool story, and you know.
So Brad,
and if it's been a while since you played 0. Maybe it's not.
I will say you kind of described me. I played 0. I dabbled in Kiwami. I skipped 6. I haven't played this.
Yeah, this is a good
I
one.
Don't have time.
Yeah,
like dude, I fucking loved every bit that I played of Kiwami.
Also know that this
0.
This is a lot shorter. The Kiwami games are a lot shorter.
I know, and that's fine. But still, it's one of those things where it's like when I play like Yakuza, I want to do everything. I want to do all the side missions, and I want to fucking max out shit.
The hostess bar mini game is back in this one. It wasn't in Kiwami 1 and it wasn't in 6, but it is back in this.
You run a club?
Because you're in Sotenbori. Yeah, that same mini game.
So
and it has story
tied
to
it
it too.
Club Sunshine or whatever.
I don't actually know because I haven't unlocked it yet. But
that's fucking dope. That was like my favorite part of 0.
I did like it a lot. Yeah. God damn.
It's cool. I mean, if you can get over the hitching.
Oh my god.
By the way, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, the game actually runs fine, but the footage is jacked.
The footage we're rolling is jacked.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be jacked too when I run my footage. What was there another game beside that? Another current game that?
I will say, can I just pimp?
I can't remember.
On the stream tomorrow, I do intend. I've been saving up sub stories.
Yeah.
because they're not voiced in the game, means I can do the voice acting, and those are the funniest parts of the game. So I've saved up a bunch of sub stories, and I'm going to do them on my stream tomorrow.
Nice.
So
Cool.
tune into that if you like to see some Brad voice acted sub stories from Yakuza, which everybody wants to see that. Come on.
Beautiful. All right. I can't play. I forgot about Chasm. We all played Chasm.
Terrible.
It's kind of rare that there's a game that everyone on the couch plays.
We all played, we all finished, and we all enjoyed. Or we didn't all finish, but we all
didn't.
I finished.
Did you finish Chasm?
Chasm? I haven't finished it.
Oh,
son of a.
I'm
broke
close.
You broke
I
the
haven't
streak.
finished it.
We all said everyone on the couch here has at least played a healthy amount of Chasm.
Rare, yeah.
Is that what we're going to talk about now?
Yeah, we're
Chasm?
gonna talk
Okay,
about
sure.
Chasm.
So
I can't wait to see how this footage runs.
So, like I said, the one thing I
Very
noticed, because I 100%ed Chasm before I even touched Guacamelee. And I will say that going back from Guacamelee to Chasm was such a hard thing to do, because Chasm, you move so slow. And one of the things I immediately noticed was I was trying to wall jump. Oh my god, I hate wall jumping in
different.
Chasm. Like, you have to hold against the wall as you make the jump. If you pull away from the wall too soon, you just immediately drop and fall. And in this footage, you might see me do it multiple times, because like in Guacamelee...
It's funny you say that, because after playing The Messenger, I kind of missed this wall jumping.
Oh, really? I don't know. But so, first of all, what I will say is Chasm obviously was a long time in the making. And I was kind of worried about it. I played it fucking when Nick and I lived together. Was the first time I played it.
Really?
Yes. And so it was so long ago. And the thing was, fuck Humble Bundle, because I think I didn't back it on Kickstarter, but I backed it on like a Humble Bundle like campaign where you could back it. When the game finally released, they didn't even fucking like tell me like, hey, your game's out now. Or when I went to my library, it didn't even show up in my library. I had to find my email from where I originally backed it and get a link from there to get the code to the game. But I'm glad I fucking remembered that instead of going and buying it again.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I'm watching this footage you recorded, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck you're using.
What do you mean?
Like that sword, the
magic knives,
the things that you're shooting.
Yeah, it's the fully upgraded.
Those
Yeah.
to level 3.
We never used them.
Oh wait,
That's the magic knife.
The knife that throws.
What sub-weapons?
As you
the knife
upgrade it.
I use the axe for most of the game.
Okay, well no, yeah, I used
Axes
a lot of them.
stupid, bro.
I used a lot of them.
The Chasm is a super faithful homage to like the Igavania.
Correct.
This is like Symphony of the Night through and through in terms of the way it controls and feels in combat.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah,
aspect
I
of
love
it
it
too. But also in the details, it kind of gets certain aspects of the Igavania right, and a lot of like the loot and the rare drops that enemies can drop if you really are really persistent. I mean, think about some of the crazier stuff in Symphony of the Night. This game is hiding
Totally
cool stuff like
100%.
that as well. And that aspect specifically.
Did anybody get the assassin sword?
Yeah,
I'm using it.
Yeah, he's using it.
Oh, okay.
That aspect specifically is something you don't see in a lot of.
Watch this scene right here of me failing horribly.
A lot of the like nostalgic.
There's a ton.
homage.
Obviously, we've been talking about it on the show. There's a ton of indie Metroidvanias, but this one might not be like the most original out there. But I do think it is the one that is closest to.
Oh yeah.
That Symphony of the Night, that
replicating,
Igavania, the Vania part of the Metroidvania, where this wanted to be one of those Castlevania games in a world where those don't really exist anymore. And there's a lot of cool Metroidvanias, but there's not one that scratches that specific itch.
And
even
scratches it so good.
yeah, it
too.
scratches it so good. Like I spent so many hours farming for rare drops and like. Fucking around with stuff like there were weapons that I had that after I finished the game I had found out did things that I didn't know
Look,
about.
I fucking got a weapon just now I had never heard of before, so I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I had to go check it out. Yeah. And it's a fucking
there's
a spike dagger.
Yeah, so some of the weapons give you hints as to what they do, but some definitely don't. And like I didn't realize like the flamberge, what is it called?
Flamberge?
The flamberge. If you did a fireball like Hadouken motion, it shot out like 4 fireballs with no mana cost.
Yeah.
I didn't know. There's a lot of like hidden moves, like the crystal rod. If you do back forward which was would shoot a projectile, which some of the weapons from Symphony of the Night did that stuff.
This kind of blows my mind because it's sorry, this is probably gonna hurt your soul a little bit, but like I did very little experimenting with weapons and shit. But the weird thing is that I still loved this game and I played it. I almost 100%ed this game, and I actually did like a 180 because the first night I played this, I popped it in, I played it for like 30 minutes, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be into this. Like this just doesn't feel good to me.
Like...
But then like the second time I played it for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and by the time I was done with that second play session, I was like, this game feels so good.
Those
like,
first 2 hours are always fucking rough.
Yeah, and
yeah.
you gotta
But, like,
man.
I love the way the game looks. I love the way the game sounds. I love just
some of the music tracks are really good.
For
I hate
me, like
the mine music.
maybe not. Like
the town music though. Like, oh my god, I just want to
the
put
town
that
music,
on.
the gardens, and the keep is got that really good hook.
I'm sorry, Nick, what were you saying?
I was just saying that, like, despite the fact that I did less like experimentation and grinding for like weapons and loot and stuff, like I just eventually kind of really fell for the way the game feels to play, and also just that feeling of like learning the map is really satisfying in this game.
It is.
Like a good
And what's
Castlevania or
crazy,
Metroid.
like the whole idea about like the procedurally generated levels and like the different seeds is like
it sounds like a really
like it would be a great game to go back
there's
to.
There's a super good interview that came out a couple of days ago
for Retronauts
with Jeremy Parrish interviewed the creator of Chasm for it's like an hour plus long interview, and this game wasn't super successful, and the interview was recorded like post-release, and they're kind of talking about the struggles that he's still dealing with, like kind of post-release, but he's still updating the game even though it wasn't this super successful game. Even critically, it was kind of somewhat middling.
So
but like
disappointing.
all of this stuff, like these were all things that he had struggled with and still struggling with, and it's like, and even if you don't really care about Chasm, it's really one of the best, most candid dev talks I've heard in a while. So I recommend seeking that out, retronauts.com for that interview.
I'm gonna check that out.
One of the
tomorrow,
things
probably.
that I really do admire in this game, versus maybe any of the other Metroidvanias I played, this month or fucking, ever. I mean, since Symphony of the Night and stuff, is I think there's like a ton of enemy variety in this game, and like all these enemies like feel very different.
Completely
Every time
different
you see something new,
styles,
you're just like, oh shit!
Yeah.
What is this thing gonna do?
Yeah, what is it gonna do? And I really admire that, because you see, like, I'm playing the Messenger, and the Messenger is really cool, but I'm in area, like, I've been to like 4 new areas, and I've been seeing like the same enemy
enemies.
types repeating over and over again. You don't see that here. You're always running into new enemy types, and they're always doing something cool or different, and I really do admire that. But I think maybe where the game feels a little maybe generic, I guess, compared to some of the more bombastic games that have come out this month, is like the power-ups you get are like very... you get a double jump, you get a wall grab.
they
very
definitely
predictable.
change.
Yeah, you get a slide kick. That like none of those are very fanciful.
They're not fancy, but they completely change how you interact with the world. And
They
how
do,
you
but you
play.
get that double jump so late,
Yeah,
and
that
it makes
is
it feel
true.
so much better. And the
And
wall
it's
grab
also,
isn't
like-
much.
it's also-
in
these are
that
kind of-
interview, he says like, I very specifically wanted them to be grounded, and it's like, damn, that was just a design decision that he went with.
I
that-
fucking hate those little devils.
Oh my god! Well, nothing's worse than those fucking spiders
the spiders.
Yeah.
Are pretty
that
bad.
lock you down. Jeez.
So I will say that, like, I think the sword familiar, I didn't even know it was a familiar until we had actually had a podcast and we talked about this. And so then I was like, you know what, I kind of want to use this. And so I started using it at first, and it does like no damage. But then, I was like, oh, you can level it up. And so I slowly over time started getting it to level up, and it gets points when it kills enemies. And I actually found an area that has, it's like a long, there's multiple stairwells, and there's these archers, these skeleton archers, and I would hang on the edge, and I would just let my sword kill them, and it would get like 2 levels at a time. It took like 3 or 4 hits to kill them.
Yeah.
But then, like, now my sword's at level 32. It does like 77 damage a hit. Like, it can fucking, like, kill enemies in a single hit.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, the sword will get super aggressive. Like, normally it'll
flips
only
out.
just, every once in a while, it'll just do attack here or there. But then sometimes it'll get swipe. And so it's like, holy shit, when it gets fucking aggressive, it can fucking demolish enemies.
But there's a soft cap too, because I got my sword up to that around that level, and it kind of slows down. I've even let it kill a couple of bosses just out of coincidence, or mini bosses.
Dude, one time my
And
sword
it'll
killed
level up a bunch.
It killed a mini boss, and I was like, I didn't get any of that experience. Because the sword gets the experience.
Sure, I'd rather get the sword.
No, I understand, but it's just I was like, God damn it! Like,
but it's cool, and it's obviously a nod to familiars in Symphony of the Night, as a lot of this is. But it's in Symphony of the Night, you get the sword to level 50 and you can equip it, and you can still keep leveling it up to like 99, and the sword keeps getting stronger. It's fucking cool.
Well, but, I mean, like we're comparing this to Symphony of the Night, and it's similar to kind of comparing Donut County to Katamari, whereas the scale of this game is nowhere near Symphony of the Night.
But even then, this does feel like a more consistent, like polished game.
Oh no, it definitely
than Symphony of the
does.
Night, which seems kind of all over the place. But even though that's kind of its charm, honestly, that and this game, even though it is procedurally generated, they managed to still have a lot of like platforming and stuff, like tricky platforming stuff in this game, and little challenging platforming rooms.
Interesting map layout.
Interesting map layout. Nothing gets too crazy, but I do admire how tight it feels. And one of the weaknesses of some of the later Igavanias, like on the DS and stuff, especially like Portrait of Ruin, is just how weak the level design itself actually was. And that's one of the big problems with Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, of which I played a few backer demos at this point now. And honestly, based on the reviews of this game, which I think is a really like lovingly created, like it's really polished, you could tell this has been like tinkered with for years. You could tell. But the reviews were still kind of like, I think it's like at a 75 on Metacritic or something.
I think because it feels safe.
Which isn't bad. It feels a little safe. But this makes me really worried about Ritual of the Night.
Oh no, 100%.
Because I think this is far better than anything I played of Ritual of the Night. And I think that is maybe in a world of hurt, because we live in a post-Hollow Knight world. And there's all these other Metroidvanias that are coming out and doing cool things. And Guacamelee is amazing. And Dead Cells is so fucking fluid.
I just thought about Ori and the Will of the Wisp for a second, and I just...
so
got excited.
I think it's in for a world of hurt. But, I love this game. I would love to see this developer, like, do something new. He is experimenting with... like new modes, maybe even doing like shorter, like more arcadey style modes, like short form experiences, using these, the court game here. And I don't know. I recommend listening to that interview. It's just a really good
I'll check it out.
Dev interview. It's a good listen.
I also just really liked the way this game looked and sounded.
No, yeah, and I will say, kind of going back to what you were talking about, like Crispy with replayability, I think it's one of those things where I think it's fairly good to go into this game blind the first time, but then find out all those secrets, find out about how weapons can be used, and there's so many things about this game that just the game doesn't tell you. And like there's a couple of things I did learn. Like I learned about the Assassin's Blade fairly early on. It was already after I had been to the area where you could get it. But as soon as I heard what it was, I was like, I am getting that. And I farmed until I finally got it. And then by the end of the game, you saw that like I'm doing like 83 hits. 83 damage with my Assassin's Blade, and I have one weapon that does more damage, and that's fucking Trell's sword. And the only reason it's any way better is just because it has the arc, and I can swing it slightly faster. I think they sped it
up in a patch too.
Really?
I ended up using that on the final boss because it was above you.
Well, yeah. So that exactly. I used Trell's sword in the final because the assassins, it's hard to get where you need to hit with it, and since it does that arc above you, it's easier. But for everything else, I'm using this just because it's a little bit quicker, because you can do like the swipe a little bit quicker with this, and it obviously it builds up experience or whatever, and it doesn't quite level up like the sword like Familiar does, but I mean it will eventually start doing more
damage. The coolest weapon in the game I found though is the hammer you get. So all the bosses have a special weapon if you can kill them without taking any damage.
Oh fuck that.
And once I found out about that,
I got all of them.
I could not do it. In the boss of this area, the Gardens, drops a hammer.
It's so good.
That once it hits the ground does like this huge
it sends out like a shock wave.
Wait, how do you do it over and over again?
You can't. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't go back to do the earlier bosses.
Wait, so how'd you get all of them? You just the first try, you didn't get any take damage?
Yeah. No, not the first. All of them. Once I found out about that,
I found out right before I fought the first boss.
Oh, see, I didn't. I didn't find out until the boss of this area.
So if you took damage, would you just let them kill you and then start?
Restart. Just a quick load. Or
so
whatever.
There are some that I did fought for like half an hour.
Dude, the first guy, he gives you a fucking like claw. Oh my god, it does so much damage, dude. It's so good.
This game has great whips.
Whips.
Yeah, which is fucking great because between this and Dead Cells, we're finally seeing whips that aren't shit. You know, one thing I hate about the Souls series is like, in my mind, that's like the perfect 3D Castlevania. But every whip that's ever been in a Souls game has been fucking trash.
False.
No,
The fucking cane.
No, the cane is the
cane
weakest
was
starter
dope.
weapon in that game. It's
cane
cool,
was
but it's
dope.
not good. It's cool.
No,
it's
it
not
was
good.
a good weapon if you leveled it up.
Are you talking
It
about
was good.
Bloodborne?
Yeah.
No, fuck.
I use that. I use that.
Dude, that
for
was
most of the
that
game.
that weapon carried me through the entire game.
Yeah, but that's any Bloodborne weapon because there's only like 10 weapons
Then what
in
does
the
it
fucking
fucking
game.
matter?
It's a bad whip.
It's not. It's great. It's
I
got a great arc on it.
I will
love
fight
it.
you.
Yeah, the fucking starting
love-
axe.
I love that weapon.
Let's-
I will defend it to the death.
I'm with you, Crispy. I think that's a great whip. But
It's a great
as
weapon.
far as 2D Metroidvanias go, there hasn't been a lot of great whips lately, and this one has a pretty damn good whip.
No. I will say, I did play this on hard, and if you haven't played Chasm and you're thinking about it, it's tough.
It
but,
is a
but
tough
I do
game.
recommend it because hard mode. There's a great thing about, I guess, Igavanias, and it's in here with the pacing of like the time between save points, and you start getting that tension of like, am I going to get to this new save point soon? I'm getting lower and lower on health, and especially on hard mode, that tension is a really satisfying one, and you start having to make that tough decision of like, I got some good shit. Fuck it, I'm gonna go back. I got to go back and save.
So no,
I feel
definitely.
like I had that same experience even though I was playing on normal.
I,
Maybe that's just because I'm not as good
all I
at
can
these
speak
games.
of is my own experience, and I feel like that felt really challenging and balanced, and I was satisfied.
I will also add that unlike this, once again comparing it to Guacamelee a bit, in Guacamelee, anytime you came across a room that had something in it you could interact with, it showed up on the minimap. That doesn't happen in this. It doesn't show you. And so it got to the point where I was and I talked about this on the podcast I think before, but I was literally making maps. Because obviously it's procedurally generated and the maps are slightly different, so it's not like I can look it up online. But I'm like, all right, I had to remember that in this room I saw like something that's very high, so I either need like a double jump or something, or this I knew I need like a long thing.
It marks all the secrets on the map.
So it marks a secret, but you don't know what the secret is.
Yeah.
And
Some of
so
them are
There were a
tricky
few.
too.
There were a few times where I actually went into Discord and I was like,
It's
"Hey,
running smooth now.
where do I find?" Like, because since the maps are procedurally generated, I had to go into Discord and I was looking for something specific, and I was like, "Can somebody tell me the general area of the map that I could find something?" Wait, what?
So we might have made a discovery. Anyway, yeah, no, I know what you mean, Nick. And that was, but like I said, and that's why I ended up making my own map, just so I can kind of find where things are later, because not that I don't enjoy exploring, it's just more of a, sometimes it can be frustrating. There was one room, and I can't remember where it was, but I had not I hadn't written that one down, and I spent so long trying to find it.
There were a few times where I struggled to try and find something.
Backtracking is a little frustrating because unlike some other Metroidvanias, you don't get an ability, like a physical ability that moves you like that, like much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I wish you could. There is a hat you could farm for that makes you run faster. The Fox Mask.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
God damn, this fucking game, man.
And there's also a dagger that increases drop rate, but it's a dagger, so it's tough to kill with.
That is one thing I will say that kind of frustrated me with this, that your appearance doesn't change.
Yeah.
I really wish that when you put on different outfits,
That'd be
your
cool,
body,
That's like my biggest wish list from like the
because
like
I just,
any game.
I just imagined like him having a little fox mask on. I'm like, that'd be so fucking awesome.
Because remember how fucking like even in Symphony of the Night when you got like different capes for Alucard,
Yeah, it
like
would
they
change.
change color, and then you'd get like the one that was like all fucking like
yeah.
You
No,
want to
looked
know
like Technicolor or
another
some
really
shit,
like
like-
amazing homage
you don't get any of that.
is when you save in this game, or like the save screen has the little PlayStation icon. You know how like when you saved in a PlayStation game, it would create like a little icon, oftentimes animated.
Yeah, a little spinning kind of thing.
Yeah, a little thing. And in Symphony of the Night too, it had that like
crystal
kinda save
like,
screen,
yeah.
and like different saves would have different little icons.
Yeah.
This game does that too.
Oh,
and
you're
that's
talking about the icon on like the menu
file
when you're
select.
like selecting the file you want to
well,
load.
both the menu, but that's also the same icon
Yeah.
in the memory card screen.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
That shit. When I was playing a bunch of PlayStation games for 1998 month, I got so nostalgic looking at all these memory cards and those cool little icons. I really miss that. Sort of just a thing doesn't exist anymore.
yeah.
man, this game's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, and I recommend it to anyone that really loves like Symphony of the Night or Igavanias that respects like really cool like loot drops. If you put this game, if you put in the time, it rewards you for it, and I really admire that.
By the way, I finished this game with a 99% completion, and I didn't even get the last ability.
There's actually oh, you didn't get the swim.
I didn't get the diving. What was
Oh,
it?
the diving gear.
Believe it
Yeah,
or not,
I
like
didn't get that.
99% is. I mean, you can get 99% without doing a lot of the stuff because it's just if you've been in the room,
It's
counts.
map exploration.
But yeah, it's map well, whatever. It's still.
There were a few things. Wait, never mind. I remember I asked this question, and then Nolan told me what I've missed or forgot, and I was like, I feel dumb,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna ask it.
I really like it.
It's a great game.
It makes me sad that
it's a relatively short. It's not asking for a lot of your time. I beat the whole game in like 10 hours.
yeah, but
11
I mean, I
hours,
spent
like that.
twice that. But
yeah,
that's
I probably
because-
spent closer to like 15 maybe.
But that's because like I said, I put in the
But
time
farming
because
drops
I wanted
and
to
stuff like
Yeah.
that.
get all those rare drops.
It's just not a
and stuff.
huge commitment. It's like that shouldn't be something because like there are games that maybe I decided not to play this month because they were too much of a time commitment. Considering I knew things like Spider-Man were coming very soon, but this is very much the kind of game where it's like if you just want something that you can knock out relatively quickly and have a good time with, I think this is a great option.
I feel like if it had launched on Switch,
It'd be a totally different story.
Oh yeah,
I mean, look at apparently Dead Cells is outselling the PS4 version
really?
on Switch 4-1.
Wow.
which
Even
is
the- even
silly
though the
because it
Switch-
doesn't even run that
The
good.
Switch has the fucking performance issues,
Yeah.
which is the weird part.
Just because it's the new indie device, man.
Yeah.
I would have got.
But that's, I mean, whatever. Like if it gives,
It came out on Vita.
it's supporting indies and it's giving them lots of exposure that they may not have
No,
otherwise
that's
had,
fucking
which is
great.
great.
That's fucking great. It's
So.
just like people. I actually made a post about this on Reset Era today, but people are kind of like so proud that Nintendo's like kicking ass that they're not saying like, "Hey, this is a really great thing that Dead Cells is selling so well on Switch," but like it's also probably not the version you should get if you can play it elsewhere.
Yeah.
And no one's saying that. They're just so proud of fucking Nintendo.
I am definitely gonna pick up the Messenger though on Switch.
Yeah.
All right. I have one game I do want to talk about, but I'm going to keep it very brief because unlike everything else we've talked about tonight, it's an older game that I'm revisiting, and we have talked about it before in the show, but I do want to kind of cover it because Horizon Zero Dawn was one of my favorite games of last year. Was it last year?
Yes.
Yes, last year. But I didn't play the Frozen Wilds, which is the DLC expansion pack.
Nor
that they
did
released
I.
for it. And I picked up the complete edition, which has everything packed together there, and it's been sitting on my shelf forever, and I haven't touched it. So I finally decided to pick it up. And I was hesitant to go back and play it, mostly because, like, historically speaking, I don't like snow levels. I hate snowy areas, snowy levels. Anything where there's,
Why is that? Running smooth, you fucker.
just give it time. It'll probably
No.
fuck up.
Something happened.
Okay, we'll figure it out. But I typically just don't like snow levels in
Why?
game. And this whole I don't know what it is. I really don't. I think
That's weird.
it's just an atmospheric thing. I usually prefer like I don't know, like
Don't
less
play
sunny
I Am
environment.
Setsuna.
Because you're just a good old Southern boy. You don't
That-
understand all this
Yeah.
ice falling out of the sky.
Sure. But I picked it up and I've been playing this for almost 12 hours at this point. It's a pretty hefty
That's pretty
expansion.
big. Yeah.
Yeah, it adds a good 12 to 15 hours to the base game, and in fact it opens up a whole new part of the map that wasn't accessible before, and it's completely snow covered. And this is the best looking and like feeling like snowy
It
environment.
must be cold. It's like jittery.
Oh god damn it!
Yeah.
Here's the jitter jokes again. But like, it's a relatively small, compact area, but like over the course of it, there's a lot of change in elevation. So you go from like the valley up to the top of the mountain,
Gotcha.
and like the amount of like snowfall that progresses as you go up the mountain is pretty fucking crazy. In fact, we're not going to get to it in this footage. Maybe Chris Davis can fast forward, kind of just jump ahead a little bit, like to halfway point or something, and like the amount of snow is just ridiculous. In fact, it actually adds a layer to the combat too, because the combat in Horizon gets very hectic, very fast paced, and they're throwing a lot of tough machines at you in this DLC.
Yeah.
And it gets the snow gets so heavy that it's actually like obscuring your vision. So like you're having to like keep track. It's much harder to keep track of enemies visually. And they even throw some of those. There's some of the machines there that are that have like the predator like
Cloaking
cloak
or whatever,
device
yeah.
on them, and then you throw that on top of the fact that you can barely see the stalkers. You can barely see like 5 feet in front of your face.
Wow.
It makes combat pretty fucking challenging. But there's a lot of good story stuff they've added here too. Like I think the story of this world continues to be super impressive and like super well developed. Like a lot of times you see them do DLC for a game, like it feels kind of thrown together and like maybe not as impactful or as exciting as like stuff you would do in the main game. But like the characterizations, like the characters you meet and talk to in this game, and like the drama that's kind of unfolding in this is really well done. Like you're meeting all this tribe, the Banuk that live in the mountains, and like they have an entire, like we talked about this before, but like all the different tribes in this game have very different ways of life and ways of doing things and ways of seeing things, and they've added yet another one of those to this DLC.
Yeah.
And they're great characters. You get this new weapon, which is kind of interesting. It's like a spear that like shoots electricity. I'm not really sure how that works, but it's fun. And they've added a few new machines too. That there's I guess the major one of these, the frost claws, which are basically bears, giant fucking bears that are very, very, very aggressive. Wait, what?
A Javazar.
Yeah. But yeah, there's not much else I can say. I'm still working I'm gonna probably finish this tomorrow morning or something. I'm pretty close to the end of it, but the entire time you're kind of working towards going to this mountain, which I assume is a volcano because there's giant like clouds of smoke rising from the top of it. They never refer to it as a volcano, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's heading. But yeah, it's pretty fucking cool. I would check. If you have the complete edition, you absolutely should play this as part of your playthrough of the game if you haven't already. Wait, what? Looks to the side? What do you mean? By the way, I feel like I've been playing this game pretty well, but once again, I just walked into like a really intense, tough combat scenario in the middle of this, so I feel like I'm just like
I thought maybe you were just
slumming it up. This is terrible. I'm getting my ass handed to me actually. But yeah, it's pretty great expansion. I would recommend it to anybody. Brad, why have you not played Horizon?
I mean, hey.
It's so good. Like the combat in this game.
A lot of stuff came out this year, and a lot of stuff. I mean, last year.
I'm constantly impressed.
I own it.
I'm constantly impressed by this, like how quickly you're switching between weapon types and like crafting stuff on the fly in combat and like switching between them. It's so great, and they add even more layers to that in this DLC, and it still feels.
I'll play
amazing.
this when Scalebound comes out.
Okay.
That's sad. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Horizon.
Scalebound was Microsoft's Horizon, man.
It was not anymore. Not anymore. Anyways, that's it, right? That's all the games we wanted to talk about this week.
Can I just say?
Sure.
After sitting next to Henry.
Yes. Oh. No footage for
Who
this.
played Spyro the Dragon for several hours. His first Spyro game. Spyro the Dragon is okay.
What?
Spyro the Dragon's okay.
But
I'm waiting for a but.
This first one is very simple. It is very basic.
Brad, did you have fun?
It's kind of for babies. I mean, you know how many gems are in that first Spyro the Dragon to collect?
How many?
12,000.
Fuck you.
I'm not even lying. All you do is
And
you
they're
collect
just
gems
everywhere.
Fuck you.
and you find dragons. And the only thing
Don't you
that
eat
is even
dragonflies?
remotely challenging
Yes,
about
you do.
that first Spyro the Dragon are there's these flying levels where you have to collect all this stuff while you're flying around with a time limit. And each one you collect adds to the time limit. Those are legitimately tricky and challenging. I will say, though, I watched some comparison footage a few months ago of the new Spyro the Dragon versus the old one, and it seemed way easier in the remake. So, the remake looks beautiful, but they may have babyfied the one thing that was actually kind of challenging about the original Spyro the Dragon.
Oh, you're specifically talking about the flying sequences.
Specifically the flying sequences.
I thought you were saying they babyfied a baby game. I was like, oh my god.
That's what I'm saying. I think the remake may have babyfied the one part of the original Spyro that wasn't for babies. That was actually challenging. So we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. So
right.
the idea was that Henry will play through the original Spyro the Dragon on PS1, still intends to finish it before the Spyro remakes come out, and then maybe he'll play the remake of 2 and 3 on this collection, provided it's pretty solid.
All right.
Gets good reviews. But yeah, it is sort of mindless, but it's also kind of satisfying. It's one you could just kind of zone out while you're playing.
It's
and talk with chat.
It's a nice, pleasant experience, would you say?
Yeah. It definitely comes to that age of like, this is so cool because there's all these goofy animations to the enemies, you know? Yeah, it's...
I will say that Spyro is one of those games that I played many times in the aisles of Target on a display stand.
Great first impression.
I played it in the comfort of my own home because I was a baby.
It's a great first impression. Spyro had the original roadie run. You know, like when you hit his charge, the camera kind of narrows and zooms in, and you get that screen shake. It's like the original roadie
Speaking of playing games in like a Target or like a Walmart or something, Ape Escape.
Ape Escape?
Ape Escape. I only ever played it there. When did those games come out? Those games good?
Yes! The original Ape Escape is dope.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3 are cool. Sony owns the IP. There's no reason that Sony
Why haven't they done another one?
Escape.
Yeah.
Guys,
Sony, what's wrong with you?
Did you ever do Snake
I don't know
vs.
why.
Ape from Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence?
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know why, but y'all just made me think of, for the first time in years, I just thought of Super Monkey Ball.
Oh, yeah.
I miss Super Monkey Ball. You know, Super Monkey Ball.
Oh my god, I
was
thought
from
that's
the
what we
creator.
were talking about.
No, Ape
know-
Escape and
I
Super
forgot
Monkey
about
Ball
Ape
are
Escape.
two totally
Ape
different things.
Escape, where you find the monkeys, and they're all and
You
if
got
you do the radar, they all have
net.
different names and like likes and dislikes and stuff. And
Why don't they do Super Monkey Ball on the Switch? I could easily see
do you know the
them,
creator of
like-
Super Monkey Ball is the Yakuza guy who's like, if you look at a picture of him when he was working on Monkey Ball versus a picture of him when he was working on since he started working on Yakuza, it's very, very
Did he get a
humorous.
lot cooler?
Yeah.
Dude, the fucking
the
monkey
Goshi, let me show you.
from Super Monkey Ball looks like the data monkey in
Can you
Mega
find
Man
images?
Legends.
A little bit, yeah.
Question.
What's up, Nick?
So, y'all saw this news about them pushing back the release date of Spyro Trilogy, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so they delayed it till November.
Mm-hmm.
What's the consensus? We think this is because they're going to put all 3 games on the disc because of the
I don't.
backlash?
No.
You don't think that?
I don't know what the backlash is.
There's only one game on the disc.
The first
you have to
game's on the
download
disc
Spyro
and
2 and 3.
the others are-
Everybody flipped their shit when they announced that, and then they delayed it
Mm.
by 2 months. So it makes me think they're putting the last 2 games
I
on
don't
the
know.
disc.
I don't know if 2 months is enough to get that done, though, right? If they were already like,
I thought we weren't talking about news here.
I don't know.
We're not talking about news.
We're not talking about news.
We're talking about-
We're jumping to our questions from our supporters
This
on
is
Patreon.
Nagoshi
Okay.
before Yakuza.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me see.
Nagoshi before Yakuza.
okay,
Okay.
Back in his Monkey Ball days.
looks like a nice.
Oh, you don't have
handsome
you don't
young
have
man.
the follow up photo ready to go.
Well,
Should I start
Don't you have
transitioning?
99
start-
tabs,
start-
Brad?
Start transition.
We have one new patron this week.
Okay.
His
Awesome.
name is Timothy
Here's a
V.
comparison.
Timothy what?
Timothy V.
Timothy V. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for becoming a patron. Every week we do post a thread on Patreon where you can ask us any question you'd like. Jesus Christ.
That is some funny
That
shit.
is
But
pretty
see, that is a
ridiculous.
developer who
Wait.
owns it.
Those two women were definitely in Yakuza.
Yeah, they're
Those,
porn stars.
I understand they're porn stars, and like it looks like they're worshiping him
Wait,
on his golden throne.
Hey, let's
That's his
Christina.
personality now.
Wait, can I
Wow.
swipe to the other?
Yeah.
Nick wants to
Alright.
swipe to the right on
This is
him.
before Monkey Ball.
He looks like
Or
a
during
high-level
Monkey Ball.
pickup artist.
Or before Yakuza.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is too much.
I will say they did
Y'all
a very
should
good
Google
job
this at
of
home.
capturing the likeness of those women in the game because I recognize them from they were hostesses in the Sunshine Club,
yeah.
and I recognize them
Yeah.
from that.
and from
Good
your own
job.
personal collection.
Yeah, let me tell you about it.
Thank you, Timothy V, for pledging and becoming a patron.
Can't
We
ever
love
not
you,
hear
Timothy.
Brad.
right.
Anyway, so we have some questions
What?
from our patrons. First question this week comes from Fuzzy Turd. A stranger in an alley asks for a penny.
Nope.
and you happen to find one on the ground right next to you. So you give it to him. Your reward for your generosity is that you're now only sexually attracted to vacuum cleaners. What is your preferred brand of vacuum?
That was the most bizarre.
Any of them that suck.
Shark.
Oh man, guys, I don't know fucking
Like a
vacuum
shop
brand.
vac, you know? The one with the biggest hose.
I find the
Brad, is it for your butt?
I find the sleek
sticking the vacuum up
angular
your butt?
design of Dysons to be most appealing.
Oh, Dyson's. Yeah.
Brad likes a rigid.
What's the most
Dirt Devil.
Ooh.
Dirt Devil?
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I forgot about
Oric?
Hoover. Oric.
Oh my
An
god.
old man comes to your house and sells you an orc for $8.
Guys, how does everybody know like all these different vacuum cleaner brands? I know like
Because
two.
Nick,
Because
Oh,
they're
Black & Decker.
Yeah, Black & Decker made vacuums.
They sure do.
Yeah.
Shop vacs.
Shop vacs, yeah. I have a rigid shop vac.
Industrial shop vac power for the home consumer.
You know, shop vacs, Nick. You can flip the hose around and it blows.
No. Oh man, I'm gonna go with Brad then on this for the shop vac.
Just gonna
Why do you
stick
think I
that
said
hose
it?
right up your butt. Turn on, blow.
You know.
Yeah, SMG Sterling's got the right idea.
You'll
The
be like
Dyson ones never lose suction.
Ooh.
That sounds like a good feature to
Never
have as a vacuum
lose.
cleaner.
Suction. And they're so sexy.
So sleek.
So sleek.
So slender. All right, moving on. Next question this week from Mr. Green Toast.
Come hither, curves.
With the huge amount of games coming out in the next few months, which ones would you rather see get a delay in order to ensure it will sell more copies than its current release
God,
date?
I hope
For
they
me,
delay
I wouldn't mind seeing an Assassin's Creed Odyssey slip into 2019, since Assassin's Creed Origins came out last year, and even after beating it, I still have plenty of side content to keep me away from another Assassin's Creed game. I agree with you, and that's something I've always said about Assassin's Creed games. I never get mad when they get delayed, because I know there's going to be more coming out, and I'm probably going to play them eventually.
This is also in the news. Assassin's Creed is skipping 2020 or 2019.
I mean, it should have skipped 2018.
Yeah, sure. But what
But-
I'm saying is like the thing is, if they delayed Odyssey to 2019, that would have been a year between Origins and Odyssey. But then we would have ended up with Odyssey being back to back with whatever's coming out in 2020.
Well, you know what, Nick? They could delay. They could skip 2018 and skip 2020.
Here's the thing. I'm actually. I do kind of I agree and disagree with that. It would be nice because there's just so much coming out. I wouldn't mind seeing Assassin's Creed slip, but at the same time, Origins felt so fresh to me. It was such an exciting return to form for the franchise that I'm kind of high on it again. So I wouldn't mind playing more of that style of Assassin's Creed game, especially since they're going more towards the RPG side of it.
Sure.
Outside of Assassin's Creed, though, I definitely don't want Red Dead to slip for sure.
Nope.
I hope Star Citizen gets delayed one more year.
We're talking about specific games that we're actually going to
You
see,
realize
which are actually going to see the light of day.
Is going to come out in
this
the
year.
year the game takes
but the thing
place.
is,
Right.
stuff's
Gonna
coming
come-
out of
by the
this
time it
year.
comes out, we'll have spaceships and it won't be cool
See,
anymore.
The first quarter of next year is so crazy
Yeah.
that I don't want stuff to slip into that quarter either.
Right.
Don't slip into my
Right.
quarter.
I feel
it.
like actually stuff looks pretty good for this year. Maybe I want all that stuff to come out. I feel like
There are some things like
I feel
maybe
like-
Darksiders 3 looks like it could spend more time
Yeah,
in the end.
I feel
yeah.
like almost. I feel like all
Yeah.
the games I would have wanted to slip into
that supposed to come out this
2019 have
December.
already come out. Is the thing, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I feel like a lot of the games I wish would have like held off would already. Like, I don't want Spider-Man to
Yeah,
get delayed.
I'm looking
I
at
fucking wanna
my
play that
list for the
shit.
rest of the
Well, I
year.
hope Spider-Man gets delayed.
I think Spider-Man is really going to hurt Tomb Raider sales, which comes out the following week.
I forgot about Tomb
But
Raider.
the thing
Tomb
is,
Raider can
but
slip.
Spider-Man's
Comes out next
PS4.
week.
Spider-Man's an exclusive. You know, I think that's going to help be on Tomb Raider's favor.
Yeah.
Thwip.
Valkyria Chronicles. I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking at
it's
the
been out
list.
in Japan.
Spider-Man.
But
My
I
list
think
for the
it's gonna
rest of the
swamp a
year
little
looks
bit.
pretty like safe and solid. Like I don't think I want to see anything. The closest thing I can think of is Darksiders 3 getting delayed. That
Fallout
game's
76 is that this year?
yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
That's
mind
like
if that
next
slipped.
month.
Yeah,
month.
that
That's one I wouldn't mind.
that would be nice, especially since it's from a new studio working
Yeah.
on it. It's kind of like maybe they could
Isn't
really
there
use
supposed
the
to
extra
be-
time.
When is the beta for that or alpha? Or
It's like
They haven't said. I think it starts in October.
Jesus Christ, October, like
Yeah,
a
it
month
comes out
before the
in
game comes
November.
out.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's mostly just stress testing and stuff.
All right. Anyway, final question from the evening from Zero Skies. It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Shit! Happy birthday!
What's the best present you ever got on your birthday, video game or otherwise?
I don't know if this is the best. This is the first thing that came to mind. I don't even know how old I was. I was probably way too young, but
Just birthday.
a friend of mine got me a copy of Eminem's first CD on my birthday, or his first full-length CD,
His
the Marshall
album?
Mathers LP. That was the
Not a
second.
video game.
No, he said video game or otherwise. And I think that's an amazing fucking album. But her mom wouldn't let her get the uncensored version, so I ended up with the censored version of that album.
Spaghetti.
And I memorized all the words to
You
the fucking
memorized
album, but it was the censored.
nerdy version.
Yeah, it's just a kind of a
I remember
weird situation.
mine. I remember it was I was at some sort of like play gym or something, like a
Jamboree or
like a DK Discovery Zone.
Yeah, Discovery Zone.
yeah, like a Discovery Zone.
Discovery Zone. I forgot.
It was
about
like
those.
Discovery Zone, and it was the Turtle Sewer. The Ninja Turtles. Turtle
the sewer place.
And I remember is when I was being handed it, and I was like, "The Turtle Sewer," and it slipped and it crushed a styrofoam cup of soda. I remember that vividly, and I was like, "Of course it did, because this Turtle Sewer is so boss."
That's a pretty good one. Anything else? Anybody?
Mine isn't okay. So I've been blessed with many wonderful, generous friends and family. So I've received some cool gifts over the year. The one that kind of stands out in my mind, it's kind of silly, but it really meant a lot to me. My roommate Jordan, my best friend, got me a gift for being best man in his wedding. And his philosophy on giving gifts is always very much I want to get them something really nice that costs a lot of money that they would never buy for themselves. So he tracked down one of the replica Mattel replica series Ghostbusters PKE meters, which were a limited edition thing that they sold 5 years ago in one lot. So you have to find them all on eBay or some shit now. And he tracked one down and gave that to me, and that was I love that thing so much. And that was I don't know. That was
I have a new
great
answer,
gift.
and Crispy reminded me of this because Crispy gave it to me. I think this was my birthday, right?
That was your birthday 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
So Crispy got me a box, and I opened it up, and it was you gave this to me when the season premiere of Dexter was on my birthday.
Yeah, this was
think.
Dexter was a big thing.
I was having a Dexter party. The final season of Dexter was starting on my birthday, and he got me a box, and I opened the box, and inside the box was the Barbie doll from the original season of Dexter. And he had Crispy had sawed it into pieces like the body in the first season of Dexter, painted the fingernails.
I did.
Like the first season of Dexter.
I used Sharpies.
And he put the head of the Barbie doll on the keychain, like the first season of Dexter.
Tied little ribbons around the limbs.
Yeah, and he put the little bows. I have a picture of it somewhere. Put the bows around the limbs, and I was like, "This is amazing." And that was before I even knew what the fuck. I thought he just gave me this fucking creepy Barbie doll, and I was like, "This is the most amazing thing I've ever received in my life." And then I took it out, and there was a slip in there with a code for I don't even remember what it was for. Was it it was like a?
Oh, it was like
an Xbox
It was like
Live.
$10 for Xbox Live.
No, it was like
and you played it and loved it.
It was like an Xbox Live $20 just.
Yeah,
code.
I actually had Jordan do the lettering on that because he's a tattoo artist. And so the card had said "want to play a game," and then you open it up and it's just a code without any context. And I didn't tell him what it was, and it took you 10 minutes to be like, "Is this for Xbox?"
I never nerded out harder.
I got you a gift for that birthday too, Nick.
I know, and yours was also fantastic. They were both Dexter things.
Next year?
You know what's funny?
Wasn't yours the next year? The one with the refrigerator or with the
no, that wasn't the same year.
Because I remember that one being at Jake and Jen's house.
Oh, maybe.
Nolan got me the box of coasters that look like blood slides that are in the blood slide box, but he put it inside of a cardboard box, and he painted the outside of it or colored the outside of it to make it look like his air conditioning.
You looked
unit.
up the
No,
exact
I found the model that
He
Dexter
found the
had,
fucking model of the air conditioning unit and drew it on the fucking box.
Too late. He already said Crispies. You're rude, Nick.
You know what's funny? I have that. I still have that box at home.
I was at Nick's house a couple weeks ago, and I saw it, and I was like, why does that look so familiar to me? And I'm like, oh yeah, because I fucking made it.
I will never get rid of that. But I throw away like when I'm moving and shit. Like I throw away all these extra cardboard boxes, but I'm still finding a use for that one.
I can't think of too many like really good because like I don't really get video games as presents anymore. And that's the thing is like Bernadette like knows like shopping for me is kind of hard because I'm one of those practical people that it's like I know what I want. And very infrequently can someone get me a gift that's a surprise that it's something I want. Because generally it's like, actually, I was actually looking at getting a watch and I prefer this model. Or, you know, because I hate that I'm like that. I hate that I'm really hard to buy gifts for. And she tries, and she does definitely give me some good stuff. But it's one of those things where it's like sometimes it's like, hey, let's talk about it. She wants everything to be a surprise. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
And you
she
make
wants
it really difficult.
Exactly. And so I'm like, hey, how about I make a list of things for you to get me, and you can buy one of them, and that will be a surprise because I don't know what it's going to be. But I can't think of anything recently. Like, video games aren't very... I don't really think I get as gifts. I mean, maybe I did when I was like 10, 11.
Yeah. I usually got them for like Christmas and
yeah,
stuff.
But usually it was, I asked my mom, can I have this game? And then so it wasn't, I can't think of too many like surprises. And my birthday is an awkward time of the year.
February?
Yeah. Close.
My favorite video...
13?
Yeah.
Fuck! I was like, it can't be the day before. It's like, it's got to be 2 days before.
My favorite video game gift that I got was from Malia. And I think it was like Christmas or something. But what it was we'd always used to go to like Half Price Books all the time, obviously, right? And I always scour like the game shelves or like racks or whatever. And the thing with Half Price Books, especially recently, is their prices.
They think everything's worth $1 million.
Yeah, it started going up and up and up. So what happened was I'd always like, oh, this game's really good, but although I'm not gonna get it, it's a little too much, right? And throughout the year, she was taking note of all of these different games that I was like pulling off a shelf and like almost getting but putting back. And like for that gift, she gave me a stack of those games.
Oh, nice!
From like
that's
throughout
awesome.
the year, she had kept track of, and I was like, oh wow, that's
pretty
great.
awesome.
That's
because
so
how else do you buy me a video game gift other than something like
the one that
which
like
is
you
cool.
almost bought, but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
changed your mind on?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Good questions this week, guys. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the
once again,
questions.
every week, we post a thread on patreon.com/4player. And if you are a patron who donates at least $1, you can ask us any question you'd like.
Anything at all.
One of the games was like I heard about like a $5 sale at like Best Buy. They were clearancing out some games, and like we went over there and was like, I just fucking missed them. But she remembered the game I was looking for and added that to the list too. I don't know why she doesn't do stuff like that anymore.
She was exhaustive in her search.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much for your questions. If you're interested in supporting us, find us at patreon.com/4player. It is time to wrap up the show with the 4-Player Minute. You know how that works. Hype, sweat, thank you, or fuck you, or any combination thereof. Brad, would you care to start us off?
Yes. My thank you for this week, I'm going to give it to you all here in this room.
Oh,
You know, for being good sports the 1998 month. 1996 month was really cool as well, but I remember like getting towards the end of that month, everybody was like, we're fucking over this shit.
I
You know?
wasn't.
Well, again, I'm talking to the group in general, but here I feel like people were pretty pumped, excited about their games all the way to the end. And, you know, I think it was a pretty good month.
It was a good
for us.
experience.
In 1996 month, I got to play Police Knots. I would never have played that game
Listen!
had it not been for 1996 month.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking
Dude,
to you. You're always a good
Police
sport. Shut up.
Knots, so fucking sexist. It's
I know,
horrible.
it's bad. I
Dude,
remember.
you
Trust
can
me, I
like
played
grab a
Police Knots
girl's
as well.
boobs
I played Police Knots. It's bad.
and like, yeah.
I
dude,
found the photo of the doll.
nice.
I remember. I've seen that. So yeah, my thank you is you guys. My fuck you goes to me and this Tekken DLC, but mostly to Namco because Anna's out and Lei Wulong is out, and those are classic Tekken characters, but we still don't have Julia Chang or any Chang. Not even a Wang. No one doing the bow and arrows, you know.
No wangs.
It's
No changs.
it makes me sad. But fuck yous to me because I'm probably still gonna get it anyways. Because everyone's been posting these combo videos on Twitter because they have this new mechanic where you have moves that bounce off the wall. So that stuff's crazy, and I've been seeing all this stuff, and I want to get it. Fuck me, I don't have time for that. My hype or my sweat, I'm gonna give it to Valkyria Chronicles 4 until it comes out because I'm worried about that game. I know people love that first one. you know, and when it came out on Steam, a lot more people tried and they liked it there. But this game has not been on a lot of people's lips this season because there's been other big games. You know, Spider-Man's a big thing, you know, and all these fucking Battle Royale, Call of Duty and Battlefield and fucking Fallout and you know, Red Dead, of course, is a monster. No one's talking about Valkyria Chronicles 4. I posted a thread in Reset Era today saying, listen, man, you Nintendo guys, I've been seeing all these threads about selling 4 to 1, you know, we're outselling 4 to 1 on Nintendo Switch, and all the Nintendo fanboys are like, oh, we're so great. I posted a thread, you guys better rally behind Valkyria Chronicles 4, because that's coming day and date to the Switch, you know, and you know, put your fucking money where your mouth is, or your wallet, where, just, that game better succeed, damn it. Fucking Switch owners, you better make it happen.
Because if not, we're going to be doomed to either the series continuing as a mobile or like a portable series, or it'll just be dead.
I could see, dead or mobile. That's absolutely true. And my hype is for Tomb Raider and the Shadow. What is that fucking
Shadow
game
of the Tomb
called?
Raider.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. What a stupid name. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It comes out next Friday. I am excited to play it. There's been some kind of like leaked screenshots or whatever, and they were of the Croft Manor and young Laura climbing around on the Croft Manor. I think it's going to be like a legit return of the proper Croft Manor, maybe just a level. But I'm always excited to go back. If you're a classic Tomb Raider fan, you know why the Croft Manor is cool. There's always lots of. It's not part of the main game, but there's always like cool secrets and stuff you can find there.
Fucking secrets.
It got me a little more excited.
Secret.
So yeah, that's my hype for this week.
Cool. Nolan?
My 4-player minute starts now. My hype, obviously for Spooderman. Dude, I am so fucking excited for that game. I'm hoping to play a lot of it this weekend. We'll see how everything else goes. My other hype is for Forgotten Anne. I'm really excited for that.
George was streaming that today.
Was he?
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. It looks good. I've seen a couple of trailers and stuff. I've been kind of following it for a little while. I really want to play that.
What is that out on? Because that's been out on some stuff.
I think everything. I think it just came out on the Switch.
Okay,
it's on PC.
It looks cool.
Yeah. My sweat is going to go to Guacamelee. I'm at the very end of it, and I don't know if I want to try and complete the chicken challenges and stuff.
Bok bok. What are you, a chicken?
Yeah, I get it, but yeah. We'll see if I'm going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be one of those things where it's like, do I want to spend like 3 hours of potential gaming time?
How long did it take you, Nick?
Dude, well, the final one took me like a couple hours probably.
Jesus.
But
But
it's pretty tough.
You know what's stupid though is like there was one point where because Robin was watching me do it and she was like, "Oh, you're getting frustrated. I'm gonna look it up." She like got on her phone. She like YouTubed it or whatever, and she's like, "Ooh," and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "1, the next room is terrible. 2, if I showed you how fast this person was doing it, you'd be really pissed."
Yeah.
It's like,
and then I don't know. I call it a thank you to myself for sticking with Suikoden. After my stream on Tuesday, I finished Donut County, and I was like, you know what? I want to play Suikoden. I asked chat if I should do Guacamelee or Suikoden, and I was really hoping I was really hoping they were going to do Suikoden, and I even voted for Suikoden in the poll. Hey, my vote counts.
It's a good fucking RPG.
And I got to the castle finally. My keep, I got there. Yeah. I didn't get to actually do a whole lot of that stuff because I got sent to another place. Yeah. But I'm excited to continue with that. Like I said, I'm going to devote at least 1 hour of every stream going forward to try and just put a little more time into that, just so I can just slowly finish that eventually. But yeah, that's it.
Cool. Thank you, Crispy.
All right, my 4-player minute brought to you by Cyberpunk 2077. My hype this week, Spider-Man, because awesome. I'm actually going to be streaming Spider-Man Saturday night.
Nice.
Or Sunday night. I don't know. Wait, hey, Chris. Yeah. What day are you streaming, Saturday or Sunday?
Whatever better for you. We'll figure this out.
Saturday night. Saturday night at 9 p.m. Central Time. We're going to be streaming Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Finish it. Finish it quickly, Chris.
Spider-Man. So come hang out for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We need to do
I hear the story's good.
Yeah, that's apparently a thing.
Nolan, Crispy.
I can't wait. My
Spoiler cast.
sweat.
Fuck yeah.
My sweat goes to. You know what my sweat goes to, and I don't know. It's not really a sweat, but like, what's up with Rocksteady?
Yeah, no shit, right?
What are they working on?
Dude, I don't
What
know.
haven't we heard?
I don't
What
know.
have we fucking heard? Fuck you, Rocksteady. My fuck you this week goes to Rocksteady. Fuck you.
You know, something you might be interested in. Kind of funny, and a few other people, including Corey Barlog, was on this panel at PAX West. They did a panel about their ideas for making the perfect Superman game.
Oh yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet, but it's out there.
I bet that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I bet that's pretty interesting. And my thank you for this week goes to just you guys. Just in general.
That's empty. You just
You
couldn't
guys.
think of anything.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything. Thanks, Chris Davis.
Ouch.
I know this must have been tough sitting here listening to us talk about all these games and you're not able to chime in.
Yes.
And we talked about a lot of games.
Hey,
So thanks, Chris.
I got to it. Maybe we can have a microphone ready for him next week. We finally got our situation figured out, and I can actually start spending money again. Maybe we'll get him set up with a microphone.
Thanks for spending money,
Maybe.
Nick.
You're welcome.
Spend some of it on me.
I already got a long podcast.
Hey. Hey. Are we ready? Can I go?
That's it.
Thank you, Crispy. We appreciate that. My 4-player minute starts right now. Of course, I'm fucking excited for Spider-Man. I actually took the day off tomorrow, so I'm going to try and get through a good amount of it over the next couple days. Yeah, and I'm also looking forward to the possibility of us doing a spoiler cast. I have a feeling we'll probably all get through that pretty quickly. Not that it's a short game, but I think we're all excited enough about it that we'll probably blow through it pretty fast. I'm also looking forward to talking about it spoiler-free on the podcast next week, so tune in for that. My second hype is actually for, if you've been in Discord lately, I've been talking a lot about it in the TV, movie, games channel. I'm actually pretty fucking excited for the new Halloween movie.
I keep forgetting about
I
the.
know we didn't talk about news, but the Henry Cavill thing.
Oh
yeah.
my god!
Henry-
Not good casting.
Ugh.
You know, I looked at his IMDb and I realized, I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen him in anything. There's
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
single movie I have seen with Henry Cavill in it, and he played a minor role in Stardust. I remember liking Stardust.
Really?
Did he? Really?
I don't know if Henry Cavill was the reason because I don't remember him, but that's literally the only thing I've ever seen with Henry Cavill in it. So I don't know if he's
Wait,
any
you've
good.
never
anything.
seen like Man of Steel?
No, none of that stuff.
Well, that is a bad movie.
He's pretty good in
None of
Mission,
that.
in Mission Impossible Fallout.
I've not seen that.
In Mission Impossible Fallout and The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He's
I
actually
his
good in
mustache.
At
that.
the
Mission
very least,
Impossible.
nothing he's done makes me go like.
But yeah,
Geralt!
that's not a
Like-
Geralt.
Yeah, I thought it was a
him.
pretty shocking
But
choice
you know
as
what?
well.
Somebody mentioned someone that I think is so perfect. It makes me sad that it's not him. Viggo Mortensen would be a good
That'd be
Witcher.
pretty good.
He'd
I
be a
could see
good
it.
Witcher.
He's got that like older kind
Yeah.
of like
Wait,
mysterious,
have you not
dark.
seen the
He's
mock-up?
old. I mean, Geralt is older than any actor in Hollywood.
He's older than George Clooney.
Yeah.
Back to my 4-player minute. I was going for I was crossing my fingers for Mads Mikkelsen. That would have been fucking amazing.
Oh,
As
yeah.
Geralt,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Too serious.
Have you not seen the mock-up of
He
Henry
can be
Cavill?
funny.
Viggo
As,
Mortensen's
He could be a goofy guy.
Viggo Mortensen's pretty
That
fucking
Mads
serious too.
Mikkelsen.
But Viggo's has humor.
Cassius, did you ever say so? Cassius has been Cassius in chat is asking what happened with Cavill. Henry Cavill was cast as Geralt of Rivia in the Netflix
Witcher TV show.
Witcher TV show. I'm not going to write it off until I see it.
Is it going to be like a young Geralt, like maybe as he's like
I don't know.
transitioning
We'll
to
see what
be a
happens.
Witcher or something?
We'll see what happens. Anyways, back to my hype, which I got completely overshadowed. The new Halloween movie is coming out next month, and one I'm very fucking excited for. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it again. The director's got some cred behind him, and it looks like a pretty damn interesting take on the series so far. The weird thing, I was seeing this on the way over tonight. How weird is it that they're making a sequel to this is a sequel to the original Halloween, assuming that every sequel that came after it is not canon, like never happened.
Never happened.
Not even Halloween 2. And no, that's not the weird part. The weird part is they're making a direct sequel to the original Halloween, and it's called Halloween.
Halloween.
I feel like that was a bit of an oversight. Like they titled it like it was a reboot,
Halloween,
but it's a sequel.
not to be confused with the remake Halloween or the sequel Halloween.
I know.
Shit like that. I mean, look at God of War, or look at Tomb Raider.
I know.
That
It's
stuff's
just
stupid.
but it's so weird. It's just like it's a sequel, but they're named it like a reboot, which is strange. But either way, I think it looks like pretty damn great for a sequel, and Jamie Lee Curtis looks like she's gonna be a badass in it. So
Yeah.
can't wait to check that out. My fuck you the week goes to whoever designed some of the platforming sequences in Guacamelee 2.
Yeah.
You're a fucking monster. Like,
Like,
some of those things are
While I was
brutal.
playing it, I was like, the person who developed this probably was playing in like a god mode where they can't die and stuff just to get it fucking going because they probably got fed up with it.
But man, they're really well designed, but they're like
they are.
without any consideration for the player. They're just like, no, fuck them, they'll figure it out. Which is, it's cool and it's fun enough, and that game feels good enough that I was able to power through it. But man, fuck you, dude. And I'll just throw another hype out because I'm very hyped about things right now. I Red Dead's like so close. Like,
Dude,
it's
when's that
next
second
fucking
gameplay
month.
trailer coming out? Dude, I can't fucking wait.
They're gonna start cranking them out here pretty soon. That's just over a month away.
Oh.
So yeah.
I mean,
The release.
it's a little more than just over a month.
October
That's like
26th.
it's
it's like a month
it's
and a
just
half.
shy of 2 months.
Yeah, I mean it's less than 2 months, so I'm calling it.
I'm hyped for Halloween.
Why? 'Cause you have a kid?
Yeah.
I'm hyped for. I'm
What are you gonna
hyped for
dress
the
him up
Halloween
as,
season.
Spyro?
No, he's gonna be Fix-It Felix. I'm gonna be Wreck-It Ralph,
No,
and Lily's gonna
Vanellope?
be Vanellope.
Nice.
That's pretty
That's
nice.
adorable.
There better be fucking pictures. Of course, there will be. I'm pretty excited for the Halloween season just
You
because
gonna shave?
I'm starting to get in the mood for
That's not Wreck-It Ralph.
horror
then.
movies. To like watch lots and lots of horror movies. But yeah. Anyways,
Do they make skull caps for your face?
Face masks.
So Brad doesn't have to shave and he can look shaven.
I'll look like.
Just get
I
like
gotta
a-
find some brown overalls.
I'm sure you can figure that out. All right, that's it for our show tonight, guys. Thank you so much for listening / watching. Of course, I didn't mention at the top of the show we were in a bit of a hurry, but if you have not yet, we'd love to have you in our Discord. You can find us at discord.gg/4player. It's a great place to jump in and be a part of the community. We're talking about all kinds of fun stuff on a daily basis, games, movies, comics, sports, even there's all kinds of crazy
Sports?
We have a sports channel. I'd never go into it, but we have one.
I am going to the UT
Yeah, you can
football
like
game
block
on
out
Saturday.
a channel. I've done that with some of them, including sports.
You can also
sports/esports, which is stupid. But
please also, if you have not yet, we'd love to have you as a subscriber. You can subscribe to our show any number of ways, including iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all kinds of ways. If you want more information on that, head on over to 4playernetwork.com and patreon.com/4players where you can support us. You can also watch us stream games every single night at 4pp.tv, so we'd love to see you there. Fuck, I forgot to mention Resident Evil 3 in my 4-player minute. I know I was forgetting something. I'll talk about it next
I
week.
feel like I've missed Carlos.
What?
Where the hell's Carlos?
I don't know. Where the fuck is Carlos?
Dead to me.
Carlos is dead to us.
If
Anyways.
he's not ruining chat during a podcast, then it's just not the same.
Yeah. Anyways, tune in next Monday. We should be able to, or this coming Monday, we should be able to record a first episode in a while of 4Player Plus. I think I'm going to have Ed on if he's not sick from the PAX flu. Looks like he's getting a little ill. He might have the PAX plague. But I'd love to have him on there to talk about all the stuff he saw and played at PAX. And then we'll probably get down to recording a spoiler cast for Spider-Man not too long after that. So tune in for that. And of course, join us next Thursday night for another episode. We'll talk about Spider-Man. We'll talk about Dragon Quest XI, among other things, plenty of other things as well. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We will see you later. Good night.
Bye.